Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Sorry about the wait, guys. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. I think we're ready to come back online for a new day of streaming. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Vencabot. Programming, intro to Python action. My name is David. I just got out of the shower, guys, and I'm a little bit wet in the hair, a little bit dry in the face, but that's shower life. Hey, thanks for the sub, Cairo. How you doing? That's my brother. Cairo, my brother. So here goes. How do you think they lowered the lag in Tekken? I didn't hear about that. So yeah, guys, we're starting a new episode here of Intro to Python. We're picking up where we left off, though. This is the same program we wrote last time, our Pokemon Day 2. This is a very simple script using only the most basic of programming ideas. And we had a little version of Pokemon running here. Not too shabby for our first day programming, right? But today we're going to improve upon it. Right now, as you can see, it's quite a jumbled up mess, right? It's just a whole bunch of fucking text right now. Our goal for today is to clean it up using functions and some imports and stuff like that. Hey, brub. Everybody say hello to my brother. That's a requirement. If you guys are not participating, you're going to get banned from the chat. Please say hello to my brother Cairo. That 1 second delay, doing, Faust? Don't get banned, guys. Don't get banned. Hello, Cairo. There you go, Faust. Thank you. Please, no ban, please. It was an Unreal Engine 4 issue. Okay. That'd be sick. Here goes. I hope you're right that they really can fix it that easily. But yeah, guys, so let's go over our program as it worked last week, right? First thing we do is we define some variables. Right? Yes. Yo, let's go. Here goes. Hello, brother. Thanks for the bits. Here goes. Who's this here? Akara, welcome back, Carbanoid. How you doing, dude? How's your week? I think you were here for the last programming stream, right? So yeah, at first we define some variables that define our Pokemon's attributes, right? Our Pokemon is Cyndaquil in this case. We have his name right here. It's a string, Cyndaquil. He has a Pokemon type as well, also a string, which is fire. And he has things like HP, attack power. Oh, this is a typo right here. What the fuck is this? Oh, I see. It's a there we go. Need that. Yeah, the line got lost there. Yeah, his HP, attack power, defense, and all of his moves have PP, right? Move 1 PP, move 2 PP. And these are all just integers. Yo, let's go. Watch an ad for these two. Carbanoid says, yeah, good. Been waiting for this. Let's go, dude. So you have the, yeah, I was looking for Carbanoid. We're picking up right where we left off. In the future, guys, we're going to be doing different projects, right? For, different ideas. We're going to use different projects. In this case, we're picking up where we left off last time. We have the same Pokemon script as before. So we have, I think so far we've only discussed two kinds of data types, right? We have strings, which is like text. They're surrounded by quotation marks. And then we have integers, that are numbers. We can do math on these, right? Now, strings can be added to each other to combine the other text, but they can't be combined with numbers. But you can use numbers to add, subtract, multiply, divide, whatever you want. They're kind of cool like that, right? Just like in real life. I fucking play games to escape reality. And as you guys know, we can define variable names however we want. We can name them whatever we want, right? We can call this Pokemon name, or, Pokemon moniker, or Pokemon title, or, whatever we want. But as long as we were consistent in our code, so I've used the name Pokemon name here for our Pokemon's name, and that means later on we can use it like right here, right? We can print off to the screen, Pokemon name plus '(s) available moves are. So we can say Cyndaquil's available moves are. Then we have here his list of moves, right? Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl for our purposes. We also have a Pokebot, right? We define his attributes as well. Now, he's not really a Pokemon because he doesn't have 4 moves. He only has 1 move, right? In this case, as I recall, he has a built-in water pistol. No matter what type, he's a Bulbasaur, right? But he still has a built-in water pistol. He's just a robot. It looks like Bulbasaur. He's a grass type, though. But he has this water gun built into him. He doesn't have any other moves aside from that. So we have a Pokebot. His name is Pokebot Bulbasaur. His type is grass. He has HP, attack, and defense, but he doesn't have any PP. Right, because he doesn't have any moves. He only has this one thing he has, which is a built-in pistol. That he's an abomination, basically. So after that, we print off to our screen what our Pokemon's moves are. That's so that the user can know what moves they can use. Right, so they've got Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl at their disposal. Every time you use the print function, it prints off on a new line. So I've used the print function 5 times here to print off 5 lines. Right, as you can see, they're indented as well for your convenience to make it a little bit easier to read on the user side. I'm going to be talking more about functions today, guys. So before I go any further, I want to discuss functions very briefly here. Here we have, again, variable assignment. On one side, you have the variable name, and then you have an equal sign that says we're going to assign something. On the other side, we have a statement, right? A statement is usually some data. It's 10. It could also be like an expression, like 10 plus 5. That would be 15, right? It could also be like, 10 plus, Pokemon defense. That would be 10 plus 2, right? That would be 12. But in this case, we're simply defining it with a very simple integer literal there, a 10. But I want to point that out because aside from assigning data, we're also using functions here as well. In this case, we have print. It's pretty much the main function we use in our program right now. You can always tell a function because it has parentheses at the end. So the name of it is print. Right? The name of the function is print. And if we want to actually use it, we can invoke it by applying its parentheses. So now we're actually printing some data, or printing a blank line in this case. Print. Now, when you run a function, if you put data between the parentheses, data goes here, right, +5, right, any kind of data you want in there, that means that data is being fed to the function for the function to do its job. In this case, print's job is to put data on the screen, right? So if you put anything between the parentheses, that data gets shown to the screen. This is called an argument. So you have the function name, print, and then between the parentheses, you have the argument for the program. Also, you can have multiple arguments as well, right? But some programs take a whole bunch. Like you'd say, we can say, a function name, right? And it could have, a whole bunch of arguments, argument 1 could be here, then we'd have argument 2, we'd have argument 3. And arguments, when you have more than one, they're separated by commas. So you see these commas here, right? We have 3 arguments, they're separated by commas. The space is optional in Python, but it's just nice to be neat, right? So we put a comma in the space in our case. That's 3 arguments for a hypothetical function called a function name. Yeah, but you can have any number of arguments for a given function. In print's case, you just need 1. You don't even need 1, really. And in print's case, if you have 1, it'll print it off, right? Like here, tackle. Or here, Pokemon name plus this other string, right? That's 1 argument. There's no comma there. But also, print doesn't even need an argument, right? It can run like this. That just means print a blank line. So in functions, sometimes arguments are optional. In print's case, that is true. Now, as we go on today, guys, we're going to be writing our own functions, not just using print and things like that. So I want to kind of cover that very briefly before we go on. Now, here's the meat of our program, right? We have this loop here. It's a while loop. So in Python, or in a lot of programming languages, you can have what they call code blocks, which break up the flow of the program. Now, up to this point, our code has run straight down, right? All this has been read in order by Python and executed. So all this code got ran straight down, top to bottom. But when you have indented code, that means that this code doesn't necessarily run top to bottom, right? It might break up our flow a little bit. In the case of while, right here, this while statement, it means that the indented code will run repeatedly. It's called a loop, right? It'll run over and over again, as long as the statement is true. The conditional statement is called, right? 'Cause it's a condition. This condition has to be true for it to keep looping. In this case, it says, while Pokemon HP is greater than 0, right? So here's our Pokemon HP. It starts off at 55, so that's true right now, right? Right now it's 55. And Pokebot HP is greater than 0. Is that true? Where's that at? Right here, Pokebot HP 68. So they're both greater than 0, right? That means this code will run, right? But as this code runs, the Pokemon and the Pokebot are going to be losing HP. So at some point, this might not be true anymore, right? One of them might have 0 or lower HP. And when that's true, then this is going to stop looping, right? As long as their health is greater than 0, both of them, it'll keep on looping. Once their health reaches 0 or below, it'll stop looping. And once it stops looping, we go down to where does the indentation end? It ends, where does it end at? Right here. So once the loop stops looping, we drop down to here, outside of the block, and it says, we have a little statement here. If the Pokebot's HP is less than or equal to 0, so if the Pokebot is dead, all right, let me print off a statement here. Pokebot name has been shut down. Pokemon name wins. So it'd say, Pokebot Bulbasaur has been shut down, Cyndaquil wins. Else. So we have an if-else statement, right? If-else means it runs this code here if the condition is true. So we say, if Pokebot HP is less than or equal to 0, if that's true, then we print this message. Else, so that means otherwise, if that's not true, print this statement. So we print off Pokemon name has fainted. Pokebot name wins. So it'd say, Cyndaquil has fainted. Pokebot Bulbasaur wins. Right, so we know for sure because our loop ended, right? Eventually our loop here ended, right? So we know one of them is dead. We don't know which one, though. So we're going to go down here and test which one of you guys died. If the Pokebot died, run this code. If it wasn't him, then run the code where we print off that, Cyndaquil died. Then we print off, a blank line, and then game over. Right? Pretty cool. Let's look at our loop in more detail, though, right? We've talked about the setup of the program here. We talked about how we went into the loop. And then at the very bottom, we see what happens when the loop is over, right? Somebody has fainted. But what goes on inside the loop? So Connor Wright Kappa says, one thing I hate about Python, coming from Java, C++, and C# background, is the snake case naming convention. Snake case? I'm not sure. I've never heard of snake case. You mean is that lowercase with underscores? I've never heard the term snake case before. But you're not a huge fan of it? Oh, I see. Yeah, the lowercase underscore. I kind of I grew up with Python. I like that. Also, I come from Linux, and on Linux, that's how you name your files. You name your files with snake case, so that's really comfortable for me. Yeah, camel case. Yeah, I came from Java myself. I first started off with basic, then JavaScript, then Java, then C++, and now I use Python pretty much exclusively. So I used to use everything in camel case and studly caps. But I kind of like the way we do it now. But again, I'm pretty used to it though. Welcome aboard, counter right kappa. So yeah, so we talked about the setup of the program here. We established all of our data, all of our variables. We print off something for the user to see. I print off the Pokemon's available moves. Then we enter this loop that keeps running as long as the Pokemon are alive. Now this loop is the combat loop, right? If you're playing Pokemon, that means we're taking turns, fighting. The first thing we do is we print off a break line when we enter this loop. So that way we kind of break away from this text up here, this available moves list. That's just visual stuff for the user to make it a bit more comfortable to read. And then we have an input function right here. That's the first time we've seen this input function today. So what it does, input actually takes an argument, which is a prompt for the user. So we have this prompt here. What move should Cyndaquil use? Right? The user gets asked a question. But then also it returns data. So we put data in with the argument. Then the function runs and uses that data, puts it on the screen for the user. But then also it gives us data back. So once it's done running, it actually gives us data. And we can actually harvest that data by assigning. So we say inputted text equals whatever input gives us. Right? So basically when you run a function, even print, right? Even print. If I run print like this, actually it returns data. And then in print's case, it returns none. Right? So we can actually, we can say right here, print returns none. It returns nothing, basically. But every function returns, some kind of data. In print's case, that kind of data is none. But in input's case, it actually returns a string back, whatever text the user entered there. So now, after this point, inputted text is equal to a string that the user typed in for us. So we asked them what move they want to use, and now we have the move they want to use right here. Hey, what's up, Kenny? Connor, I've never heard of a Go. What is Go? You're not using Java anymore? Recently, on a previous stream, a friend of mine, a new friend from this channel, mentioned a programming language called R I'd never heard of before. R. I looked it up. Apparently, it's mostly used for stats. It's not really all-encompassing programming language that's used commonly for day-to-day tasks, mostly for scientific stuff, it's stats and stuff. Okay, so now we have some more if statements here, guys. We have some conditions. So we're saying if the inputted text, so if the user typed in tackle, right? If it's equal to tackle here. Now we use two equal signs for equivalency because the single equal sign is used for assignment. Right? That's the only reason why. We already have the sign being used for assignment to a variable. So in a conditional statement, we use equals to say if it's equivalent to, basically. So if inputted text is equivalent to tackle, so if they typed in tackle, then we run this code. This is the tackle code, basically, right, for our turn. Let's have a look at that real quick. So first thing we do is we ask, is the Pokemon's move, is a tackle out of PP, right? If Pokemon move 1 PP is equal to 0, so if we're out of PP, we print off a statement here. We print off tackle has no remaining PP. That way we tell the user, listen, you can't use tackle. But their turn doesn't get used up, and here's why. We use continue after that. Now continue is a special statement in Python that will skip all the remaining code in a loop and go right back to the top. So by hitting continue here, all this code gets skipped. Right? All the other indented code in the loop. And we go right back to the top of the loop. So here's what happens if they have 0 PP, right? We say, if they type in tackle, then we ask, is tackle's PP equal to 0? And if it is, we print off a message, and then we continue. It goes right back up to here. We ask the question again. Is Pokemon's HP greater than 0? And is Pokebot's HP greater than 0? If true, then we start the loop over again. So if they have no PP, we jump right back to the top. What happens? Well, we get a blank line, and we ask again, what move do you want to use? So they type in tackle, no PP left. They get a message. They get asked again what move they want to use. It's kind of nice. Connor says that Go is like a language made by Google, which is typically used for cloud services, like Docker. They use Go for a majority of their code base. It's quite fast. Okay, interesting. So it must be a scripting language, Kappa? I find that, I don't know if it's because of, CPUs are so fast these days, but there aren't a whole lot of new languages that require compilation. It gets compiled into machine code at runtime or by the programmer. Okay. So also, let's say they don't have that, right? So if we don't have 0 pp, then we never hit this continue statement, right? So we actually continue right down here. We say, we print off, Pokemon name, that's a Cyndaquil, tackled the Pokebot name. You run go build. Okay, I got you, the counter, I got you. So yeah, it actually is compiled. And so we have Cyndaquil tackled, Pokebot Bulbasaur here. Then we calculate the damage, right? So the damage is, the actual damage that's done. We just make a new variable here called actual damage. And it's the Pokemon's attack power. So our Pokemon attack power is what? That's 8. Right? Pokemon attack power is 8. And then we subtract the Pokebot's defense. Yo, thanks for the sub, Dix. 4 months in a row. Yo, Dix, what the fuck? It's backhanded as fuck. How you gonna subscribe and say fuck you? How you doing, dude? How you been, homeboy? You can cross-compile as well. That's pretty handy, yeah, if you want to compile code for, like, a Linux or something like that. Okay, so in our case, this is not a really balanced game. This is just kind of like an example game, right? In this case, Pokebot defense, it's simply subtracted from the attack power. So if you have 2 defense and we did 8 damage, we're only doing 6 damage. So that means that, the defense is pretty strong in this game, right? It's pretty strong in this game. Every point of defense you get subtracts attack power. It's very straightforward. You're tired, huh, Dix? Why so tired, man? You okay? I'm just coding, Pokemon stuff. We're doing Intro to Python again, kind of doing some educational type stuff here. And we're doing a very, very simple Pokemon example. It's kind of like a little Pokemon combat here. So we calculate our actual damage using the, the Pokemon's attack power and the enemy's defense. And then we say, hey, listen, if actual damage is less than 0, make sure that actual damage becomes 0. And the reason we have this code here is that because the defense is simply subtracted from the attack power for the damage, let's say that we did like 4 defense. We had 4 attack power, right? And the enemy had 6 defense. That means that actual damage is -2, which means that the opponent's going to get healed, right? It's doing negative damage. They're getting healed. So we're making sure that doesn't happen by saying, listen, if the actual damage is a negative number, make sure it's 0. Just lower it to 0. We're doing no damage, but we're not going to be giving them health. It's still Cyndaquil, yeah, Dick, still Cyndaquil. For now. Per your request. Okay, so now we're going to reduce the Pokebot's HP, right? We have the damage calculated now. It's going to be either a positive number or 0. It's not going to be negative. We know that for sure. And we're saying Pokebot's HP is going to be changed to whatever the Pokebot's HP was minus the actual damage. So the Pokebot, let's see what he starts with. He starts with 68 HP. Right? Actually, I'm not going to scroll to scroll wheel anymore. It's kind of confusing, I think. He starts off with 68 HP, and we just did, what, like 8 attack power minus 2, we did 6 damage. So now he's going to have, what, like 62 HP, I think? Something like that? Yeah, so his new HP is 68 minus the actual damage. So now he has 62 HP. And then we reduced the Pokemon's PP by 1, right? We used the move in Pokemon rules. That means you can only have so many, you have limited uses of your moves, right? So we reduced some of his PP. So his move 1 PP is whatever it used to be. Let's say it was 10 when it started off. We subtract 1, now it's 9, right? So we lost one of his usages of that move. And then finally, we print some messages for the user to see. So this has all been behind the scenes in the program. All this code's been running and changing things, right? But we have to do something for the user who's the player, right? To understand what's going on. So we print out some messages for the player here. We say, Pokebot name, which is, Pokebot Bulbasaur. He took some amount of damage, right? He took the actual damage amount of damage. And then we say, Pokebot name, that would be, Pokebot Bulbasaur now has some amount of health. We report his HP back. And then we say tackle has so much PP remaining. Now, as you can see here, guys, we have a new function. It's str. Right? Str is our function here. Now, what this does is that it takes an integer or another kind of data, right, which would normally not be able to get added to a string. We're trying to add these strings together. We're making like a message, right? Like, here's a name that's string, Pokebot Bulbasaur, plus a string, took. And we add damage at the end. Those are all strings, but you cannot add a number to a string. So by using the str function, we're getting back a string version of this number. So it's changing, for instance, string changes, the number 51 to the string 51, right? Basically, we get back a string version of that number. So we can't do math on it anymore, but we can use it as a part of a message. What's up, GV? I'm sorry, guys. Still a little bit frazzled from that shower. Okay. Cool. So in other words, in order to add a number to a string, we have to first put it through this str function. That's all that's doing there. Dix says, well, I just dropped by for the sub. I'm going to take a nap and be like, good stuff, Dix. Yeah, have a good nap, man. Hopefully all is well. I never known you to be a napping type dude. Hopefully all is well. Sounds like you got beat up by something. Okay, so that's all of our code there for tackle. Right, very basic move. It does very basic damage. We report how much damage it did to the player. Right. In fact, why don't we run our program and demonstrate what this looks like so far? Right. So let me do pi Pokemon Day 2.py. Okay, so here we get the message, right? Cyndaquil's available moves are Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl. We can see that right up here. All right, so we print off. So all this code got ran behind the scenes. Right, we established all these statistics for our Pokemon. The first thing the user sees is these messages here. So we have Pokemon names, available moves are. That's right here, right? Cyndaquil's available moves are. Then we have these messages that are indented. Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl. Then we get prompted. What move should Cyndaquil use? So we enter this while loop, right? The first thing it does is ask us what move we want to use. Let's use Tackle. We just saw how that works, right? So let's highlight all of our Tackle code here. That's the Tackle type stuff. And let's use Tackle. Boom. Okay, so here's the things that happened, right? Let's watch what happened here. Looks like we actually had a few things happen. Actually, I want to raise this up higher. I want to be able to see more on the screen at once. Let's shrink this, shall we? Shrink that a bit. And raise this up a bit so we can see more of what's going on. Okay, so here's what happens, guys. We get the message here. Cyndaquil tackled Pokebot Bulbasaur. So before we do this right here, right here, we have Cyndaquil has tackled Pokebot Bulbasaur. And then we do some more calculation behind the scenes, right? We calculate the damage here. Okay. And then we get some more messages, right, for the user. So it says Pokebot Bulbasaur took 4 damage. That's right here. Right. Pokebot name plus took plus the number plus the damage, right? So Pokebot Bulbasaur took 4 damage. Let me report his HP right here. Right, so that's right here. Pokebot Bulbasaur now has 64 HP. And then Tackle has 9 PP remaining, right? So there you go. So we did some behind the scenes calculating for the actual game. We told the user some stuff to make things easier on the player. And now, what happens now? Let's find out. Oh shit, look at Pokebot Bulbasaur shoots its water pistol at Cyndaquil. It's super effective. Okay, wow. I took 10 damage, and I have 45 HP left. Okay, let's look at why this works. So, after we've tested for Tackle, right? If the input text is equal to Tackle from the user, if that's not the case, we trigger this elif statement, which means else if. That means, is the text Tackle? If so, do that. Otherwise, is the text Flamethrower? Right? LF means otherwise if. So it means if it's not Tackle, is it Flamethrower? If it is, we do this Flamethrower code. Right? This code's a little bit more involved because it's an elemental attack. It actually can do super effective damage. So there's a little more code there. We're going to look at that in a second. Then we say, if it's not Flamethrower or Tackle, is the inputted text Tailwhip? Right? If so, we run this Tailwhip code. This will reduce our opponent's defense. Right? It's a Pokemon move. If you guys aren't Pokemon players, you might not know that, but Tailwhip will lower the opponent's defense. Then we say, finally, if it's not Tackle or Flamethrower or Tailwhip, is inputted text Growl? That's our 4th move. Right? And Growl will lower the Pokemon's attack power. So we have this code here for Growl. And then at the very end we say otherwise, right? Else, otherwise. So if it's not that, or that, then we say Pokemon name doesn't know that move. Then we continue, go back to the top. So we don't use our turn. We go back to the top and ask them again what move they want to use. Right? We can demonstrate that right here, in fact. So I can enter in, let's say, Headbutt. Right? It's not a move I know. We don't have any code for handling Headbutt, where we have code for handling Growl and Tailwhip and stuff, but not Headbutt. If I hit this, boom, it says Cyndaquil does not know that move. What move should he use? Right? So he says doesn't know that move. We continue back up to here. Right? Start of the loop, and we get prompted again. What move should Pokemon name use? Okay. But after that, after we've tested what move we're going to use, right? Did all this testing to say, hey, listen, what move do you want to use? All these if statements. Then we print a blank line, right here. And then we have some code for the Pokebot to take his turn. It says, if the Pokebot is still alive after our turn, and we just took our turn, right? We reduced the Pokebot's health. But if at this point he still has greater than 0 HP, right here, then he gets a turn. This is all of his turn right here. Now again, he's not a real Pokemon. He only has 1 move, right? So we print off right away, Pokebot name shoots its water pistol at our Pokemon, right? Pokemon name. He only has 1 move with a water pistol. Then we do some tests for the type. Right? So if Pokemon's type is equal to fire, right? If it's equivalent to fire, then we calculate the damage, right? We say, hey, listen, the actual damage is the pokebot's attack power times 2, right? It's super effective, right? We're doubling his attack power, and then we're subtracting our Pokemon's defense. So let's say we have like 4 defense, that's doing 10, his 10 attack power. I think it's 20 damage done, and then it subtracts, our 2 defense becomes 18 damage, and then it prints off a message saying it's super effective. That's what happened to us, right? And it's right here. He shot its water pistol at us. It turned out it's super effective. We took a huge amount of damage, and we have so much health remaining. But it will also say here, if he's not a fire type, is he a grass type? We use elif again. So if Pokemon type is fire, then do this. Otherwise, is the Pokemon's type grass? If it is, do this code. So we actually divide his attack power in half this time, because a water type attack, like a water pistol, is not very effective against a grass type. It just feeds them, basically, right? So we do actually half damage approximately. And we print off another message saying it's not very effective, right? So in this case, if it's water versus fire, it's super effective, does nearly double damage. But yeah, if it's a grass type, getting hit by a water pistol, it's not very effective, does almost half damage. Otherwise, so else means otherwise, if it's not fire or grass, just do regular ass damage, right? So we have actual damage is this, right? Just no multiplication, no division, just straight up Pokebot attack power. And then finally we say, like another statement here, if actual damage is less than 0, so if they have a negative damage amount, make sure it's 0. Don't heal them with negative damage. It's notepad quicks, yeah, because this is our first time programming, hypothetically speaking, for a lot of players, a lot of programmers on Twitch and YouTube. So we have notepad, so we have access to that, so that's what we're going to be using today. For our next lesson, we're going to move to idle, I think, which is Python's included environment. In this case, yeah, just notepad. How you doing, Quicks? Not sure we've met. So yeah, we make sure it's not negative damage by saying if it's less than 0, make sure it's just 0. We don't have negative damage. Then we subtract our Pokemon's HP. So, whatever the damage was, he loses that much HP. Then we print off some messages here, he took so much damage, now he has this much HP. And then, because we've hit the end of our indenting, we go back to the top of the loop, and we ask that question again, right? We go back up here, and we ask, is our Pokemon's HP greater than 0? And, at the same time, is the Pokemon's HP greater than 0? Are both Pokemon still alive? Right? If they are, then run the loop again, right? Let's both get some more combat going, right? But if one of them is dead, or both are dead, then jump down here to the bottom, and run this code that tells us game over, lets us know who wins, right? Now, in the grand scheme of things, it's a very simple program, but even then, it's more complex than it should be, right? Look at all this code; it's kind of noodly, right? Look how much of it there is, and it's just all indented at weird. It's just lots of indenting going on, lots of if-else and stuff. We can actually simplify this today by incorporating function definitions, right? So last time we did this program, we were avoiding function definitions. It's kind of a relatively complex idea for a total beginner. So we've been using really simple stuff like variable assignment, and we talked about if, else, and elif, and while looping and things like that. We've used print, which is a function. We've used str, which is a function. We've used input, which is a function. Right? But we're going to make our own functions today, and we're going to use that to make our code more readable, to make it more sensible, to make it more dynamic. We actually give our pokebots more moves today because of that. But what is a function definition? How does it work? Well, why don't we very briefly open up a new notepad document. Let's save this one, and let's make a new one. So let's save this right away. Learning Python. I'm going to call this, a function example .py. Right, so we're going to talk about very briefly here about defining functions and how they work before we actually go back to Pokemon. So the first thing you do when you're defining, let's just make a simple print statement here, print, hello world, so we know this program is working. Right? Let's go down here. We're going to kill this program here using a pause on the keyboard. We're going to say Python. We're going to run py. We're going to run function example .py. It says hello world, right? So we have this little program here now, one-line program. Now we're going to make our own function, right? So to make your own function, use the def keyword. So def, and then use space. Boom. That means we're making a new function. That's followed by the function name, right? Like we can just say like our function name, right? Whatever. We can name it whatever the hell we want. Right? It goes there, and that's followed by the arguments it needs. Right, so let's say, our argument, right? We give one argument, let's give another one, another argument. Boom. Right, so when you define a new function, you give it a name, and you define its arguments. You can name them whatever the hell you want, and then separate them by commas if you need more than one. You might not need any, but in this case, we're going to use 2. And then just like if, else, while, and elif, we're going to use a colon. As you guys know by now, if you use a colon, that means that we're going to be making a code block. Right? But if you end a line in a colon, it means we're doing a code block. So it means we indent from now on. Boom, so we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to, print, our function ran. Right? Cool beans. So as you guys know, if you indent code in a code block, it only runs under certain conditions, right? In Python and pretty much every other programming language, code typically runs from top to bottom in a straight line. Boom, just right, down from the top. But if it's indented, that means that it'll only run in certain conditions. So in this case, our code doesn't get run right away, right? It's at the top of the program, sure, but we're not going to get this. We're not going to get this message, right? Print our function ran. We're not going to get that. Let's find out. Let's make sure. Yes, it still says hello world, right? So the first code that gets ran is this code. Right, hello world. This code doesn't get ran yet. That's because unlike if, which has a conditional statement, right? If is followed by a condition, like if this is true, then run. While likewise has a conditional statement. While this is true, then loop. Else is indented saying, if the if wasn't true, then run this. When you define a function, it means only run this code when we call that function, right? So let's do that. Let's run our function name. Okay. Now, this is going to crash. I'm going to tell you guys why in a second. All right, so we have this print statement, right? Print hello world. We're going to try and run our function name. You guys already know why it's going to crash, right? Let's do it. Boom. Okay, so we have a type error. Our function name, it says, is missing 2 required positional arguments. Our argument and another argument. So in other words, because we defined this function as requiring 2 bits of data to be fed into it, it won't run with all those bits of data, even though we're not using them yet. Let's do that anyway. Let's just say, our argument will be like, we'll say, Vencabot will be our argument, then another argument will be, Geefy Beefy. Right? We have 2 strings going in, 2 names of some, guys on Twitch, basically. We don't need that data yet, but we're just going to feed that in there just to have this positions being filled. So now the code should run, right? We have our arguments we need, right? 2 bits of data are being fed in. They're going to be filled in right here and right here. And now this code is going to run. Our function ran. Let's find out. See what happens. Sick, right? So we have this, hello world, and then our function ran. So we can call this code as many times as we want, right? We can actually just, go up here. We can copy paste this as much as we please. So we can just, what is that? Control V. We can run it as many times as we want. And we can run the whole thing. Boom. See, our function ran over and over and over again. That's kind of cool. So this is a good way to reuse code, right? We can write the code once, and then we can call it as many times as we want. Now, let's remove our arguments, right? We have no use for these yet, right? Let's remove the arguments altogether. Let's run the code. We're going to have a crash again, right? Because now it doesn't want any arguments. We're going to feed it 2. Let's see what happens. Okay, so see here, our function name takes 0 positional arguments, but 2 were given. It's an error. So it doesn't take any arguments at all, but we fed it 2. That's not going to work. Let's take all this away. There we go. So now we have, no arguments needed, no arguments given, and now we should run just fine. Our function ran. Cool. All right. So why don't we actually give it an argument now? We'll give it, our argument again. And we're going to actually use that argument now. So now within this function, we have access to this variable. Right? So let's print off, how about, we'll say our argument plus, is a great Pokemon. All right, cool. So now we have access to this our argument. Let's actually try this. Let's just feed in here, Cyndaquil. Right. So it needs an argument. We're giving it one. It's Cyndaquil. Then the function is using that argument in this print function as a part of this string. Let's see what happens. Sort of says make a class, please. I can make a class for you, Surrender, because you asked, but we're not going to cover that today. That's going to be our next programming stream. We're going to go into object-oriented programming, classes, things like that. Okay, let's run this code here. Here we go. We got a nice little simple function here. Cyndaquil is a great Pokemon. Yeah, because Surrender asked, we can make a class here real quick. Let's do that. And Crew says, if fuckery equals fuckery. And it does. So let's make a class real quick. So let's, make a Pokemon class, right? We're going to do this tomorrow. It's a preview of our next stream. Not tomorrow, but maybe next week. we're going to make a Pokemon as an object, right? If you guys are new to Python, just ignore this. We're going to cover this in more detail next week. But for surrender, we're going to do it. So we're going to do class Pokemon. It's going to have, you know, an init function. The init function runs when you make the class the first time. It has to start with self, like all methods. So we can feed it some data to make an object. So we can say, you know, he's going to need a name. You know, we're going to give him a Pokemon name. He's going to have some, you know, Pokemon HP, Pokemon attack power, and Pokemon defense. Right, just like our other Pokemons were before. Right, so we're feeding all this data to the init function. Then we're going to save this data to the actual Pokemon itself. So we're going to say, you know, self.Pokemon name is going to be a Pokemon name. Self dot, you know, HP equals Pokemon HP. Self dot, you know, attack equals Pokemon attack. And self dot, you know, defense is a Pokemon defense. And what's cool about this is now we can actually, you know, let's give it a method too. We can say, like, you know, we'll give it a method here, like, you know, report HP, right? And we can say print, you know, self.Pokemon name plus has plus, you know, a string of self.HP plus HP remaining, right? So now we have a very simple class here, guys. That'll be, we'll go into more depth in this, about this next time. But we can use this class for, we actually make a Pokemon now. So I'm going to do that down here. You know, we're going to say we're going to use our new class for our friend Surrender. Really old school hacker name, I like that. But yeah, so we can say, you know, Cyndaquil equals Pokemon, and his name is going to be Cyndaquil. He's going to have, you know, 40 HP, 8 attack, 2 defense. Right, now we have this Pokemon object called Cyndaquil, and now you can do stuff, right? You can actually report its HP. You can say, you know, Cyndaquil dot report HP. Right? Let's see if that works. How you doing, Cruz? How's your day been, homeboy? Do you need to define a init? You're missing def. Oh, thank you, dude. Thank you. I knew that seemed wrong. Yeah, my friend Kenny caught a typo there. Before we even had to run the program. We should define a init for sure. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Surrender. Oh, invalid syntax. I fucked something up here. What did I fuck up? Let's see here. It says on this line, self.defense equals Pokemon defense. There's an invalid syntax, huh? Oh, because we can't use the word def. Right. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. We just call these all. I avoided calling this name as well. I call it Pokemon name because I want to use the word name. Let's just use, you know, Pokemon HP and Pokemon attack. Right. Yeah, def is a protected term because, you know, you have to def functions, right? There you go. That'll do. Let's fix this as well then. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, I can't use def, yeah. Okay, there you go. So here's what we got going now, guys. We have wrote our own function here. Very simple function called our function name. It just prints off, you know, a string saying that they're a great Pokemon. We feed it a string as an argument. Then it uses that string as a part of a message saying that they're a great Pokemon. And here we use it. Our function name, Cyndaquil. We feed in this Cyndaquil, right? This string. It gets used here. We also made a class, and we used that class. We defined a Cyndaquil, and it can have a method, right? It can report stuff. Not without jam. Gotta hit that def jam. Yeah, Surrender, we're going to actually do this very thing on our next programming stream. We're going to use classes to make our code even more neat. But today, it's a little bit ahead of us here. We're doing some beginner type stuff. I don't want to go too much into classes today. But yeah, for your, you know, if you have any questions, please let me know, Surrender. I can answer your questions very happily. But we're not going to use that too much today. We're going to stick with functions. We're still beginners here. Especially me. I have no clue what I'm doing. Data structure time. No one, Cruz, no! Alright, we're not even doing lists yet. We're going to do that later today, though, I hope, if we have time. All we know about right now are strings and integers, man. We're fucking beginners. We're clueless. Okay, so we're talking about defining functions, right? So we know how arguments work. Now we're actually feed it too. Let's say, you know, our argument, you know, another argument, right? So we have these two arguments. We're going to say, you know, is a great plus another argument, right? So now we can feed in two arguments. We can say, you know, Cyndaquil is a great, you know, lover, right? We run that now. I would say Cyndaquil is a great lover. I'm actually going to punctuate this. So we have a very simple function here we made, guys. We're feeding it 2 arguments here. It's using both arguments as part of this print statement. And we can define what we want. We can say, you know, Vencabot is a great streamer, because I am, obviously. Because our viewers here, you know, I'm the best of the best. Boom. Kenny says, Vencabot also has an Intro to Python channel in his Discord if you want to ask. Well, exactly, guys. Yeah, come to vencabot.com. That's where we have our Discord invite. We have a little channel there. We can talk about Python all day, every day, and answer your questions for you whenever you have any questions. We stream programming here once a week, but I answer questions on Discord all the time. By all means, come swing by. And finally, we can say, you know, ncruise is a great necro, because he is. Right. So we can. This function is pretty versatile, right? Well, not really, but for our purposes, it's pretty functional. But functions have another very important purpose, and that is to return data. Right. So let's look at that real quick. Let's actually delete all this code here. We're gonna make a new function that returns data. We're gonna say def, you know, double int. That's not good. That's not a good way to put that. Let's just call that, you know, multiply times 2, right? Whatever. And we can say, you know, our int is the first argument. We're going to multiply that by 2. Right? So we're going to say, you know, we can, let's just print off the message. We're going to print off, you know, our int times 2. Very simple. Very, very simple. Let's do that right now. So let's use our new function. Multiply times 2. We're going to feed it, you know, 4. It says, no, I'm not. You fucking liar. And Cruz, you liar. But we get 8 back, right? So it's pretty simple code, right? We define multiply times 2. It just prints off, you know, whatever this integer is times 2. And then we run that code with the number 4 as the argument. So we get 8 back, right? So we feed in an 8, and that gets used right here. Boom. We actually use, we can also, you know, multiply times 2. You know, we can give it 12 as well. And we're going to have 8 and 24. There you go, 8 and 24. We can do it as many times as we want. It's kind of cool, right? But what if we want to use this as part of some math, right? Let's say that we want to, you know, let's say we want to say, you know, our doubled int equals, you know, multiply times 2, 4. Then we want to say, you know, 16 equals, you know, let's just say R16, right? Our sweet 16 is our doubled int plus 8, right? So we want this to be 8, right? But we have a problem. We're trying to use this multiply times 2 as part of some math, but all it does is print. All it does is print, right? It doesn't actually save that data anywhere. Well, that's what return is for. Right, there's a return statement in Python. So we can actually do this. We can do return our int times 2. So what happens now is that when we run this program, multiply times 2, not only do we feed data in, 4, but we get data out. Right? Return helps us get data out of a function. So we're actually getting out the integer we fed in times 2. So now our doubled int is going to equal 8. Right? Now this is going to work. Right? R16 is going to be our doubled int plus 8, which is going to be 8 plus 8. Right? Let's actually print that off to verify we got it right. Yeah, see, 16. So R16 equals 16, so we did it right. But that's very important, guys. Very important to know that you can feed data into a function using an argument, or, you know, more arguments, you know, more than one argument. But you can get data out as well using return. Right? So we can actually get data out from this function. In this case, we're saving the multiplied times 2, you know, number into our own variable, our doubled int. So now we know all that, guys. Sorry if we're going on a little tangent there. Let's go back to Pokemon. And we're going to cover this idea in more depth. Let's look at this idea more closely. So let's open up, you know, Pokemon Day 2.py again. Okay, so as you guys know, by using functions, we can reuse code over and over and over again. Now, where are some cases where we're doing that? Well, all over the place, right? This code has all kinds of repeating code, such as, you know, the data calculation, you know, how much health is being lost, all these messages here, we print off how much HP people have, right? How much PP is remaining, and stuff like that. It's a lot of code being reused. But another important function of functions is that it can help make your code easier to read. So in our case, we have, we say, if this is true, right? If inputted text is tackle, we run all this code. This is the tackle code, right? If it's flamethrower, we run all this code. But it's a lot of indenting going on here, right? Look how deeply it's all indented in. It's kind of hard to read. It's kind of like a whole bunch of code going back and forth. What we can do instead is we can define a tackle function, right? We can say this function is tackle, right? That makes it a little bit easier to read. So first of all, why don't we do that for each of our 4 moves? Let's define a function that runs this code instead of having it be all this, deeply indented code. So let's go up here to the very top of our program, where usually you define functions at the top. It's not necessary, but it's a best practice to make a code a bit easier to read for other programmers. Define functions usually at the top. And we're going to define tackle. Very, very simple function. And here, we're going to have, our tackle code. As you guys remember, if you use a pound sign or a number sign or a hashtag, whatever you want to call it, before your line of code, there's a comment. It doesn't get read by Python. There's no syntax error. It's just for your pleasure of reading it there. So we have some tackle. Let's copy paste our tackle code. Okay. Here's all of our code for tackle. All right, let's just paste that right here. Okay. Now what's really cool is that because we are only in a function now, we're not inside of a while loop, we're not inside of an if statement, we can actually indent this code much less. Right. We have to indent it about that far. Let's remove 4 spaces from each line. Very exciting. There you go. I'm sorry, I missed a message from N. Cruz. It says, but I was better at blockchains and data structures than necroing, huh? I don't know what the hell is a blockchain. Okay, so we have this very simple function now. It's tackle. But as you can see, it needs some data, right? It needs Pokemon move 1 pp. It needs a Pokemon name. It needs a Pokebot name. It needs Pokemon's attack power and Pokebot's defense. Right? It needs a lot of stuff. And because we haven't fed it into the with arguments, it doesn't have access to it, right? It doesn't have these variables yet. Now down here we had them because we defined them up here. Then we used them down here. But in a function, you have to feed arguments in as arguments, the data that is. Yeah, tabs are evil, yeah. Yeah, space for life. If you guys are new to Python programming, please indent at 4 spaces each time you want to indent. It makes life a lot easier in the future, trust me. Don't use tabs. Don't use anything aside from 4 spaces. Don't use 2, don't use 3. Just use 4. You can, it's technically, your code will run with an arbitrary number of spaces to indent with, but don't, just always use 4. Makes your code more in line with other people's Python code, which is nice for reading. So let's feed in some stuff, right? It needs, a pp. So it needs, it needs move pp, how much is remaining of it. It needs, a Pokemon name and a Pokemon attack power, right? And it also needs a Pokebot defense. It needs a Pokebot HP, right? So let's give it that too. There you go. So it needs quite a few arguments, right? No, Kenny, don't do it. Don't use 7.3 spaces, no. So CK Darp says, why are we using Notepad? Because it's our first day programming, dude. So we don't know how to use anything else. When I first programmed, I used Notepad for a long time. I think that a lot of these newbies out here that are trying to learn Python as their very first language, they don't want to have to learn a whole new program to write code with. We have Notepad for that, for very simple projects. I think a lot of people that aren't programmers think that in order to program, you have to have access to very specialized tools, but you don't. All you need is Notepad. So that's what we're using today. I know it's a little bit wonky if you're used to using an actual IDE or something nicer than this. I do in CK Darby. I used to code ARM's micro... Oh, you did? Why, N. Cruz? Why? Right, mobile apps or something? You did code the actual processors though? That's crazy. It says Vim for... That's what I use. I use Vim. GVim to be precise. When I write for my own pleasure, I use Vim. Okay. So now we fed it in these arguments, right? Move, we have to change this, right? We have to change this to not Pokemon move 1 pp, but move pp. Right. We have Pokemon name, tackle Pokebot name. We have, we don't have the Pokebot's name here. Let's do that. So many arguments. Okay, so we have the Pokebot's name. Damage being calculated there using the defense. Okay. we have this move PP, not Pokemon move 1 PP anymore. It's called move PP. Nice. Okay. Yo, I just realized this is not going to work. Let's keep on going though like it is going to work. This would work a lot better if we had classes, but we don't yet. Okay, so let's see here. So we print off the Pokebot's name. Okay, he took some damage. He has so much HP left. And he has so much PP left here. Okay, so now we have this function that takes in all this data, and it runs this code. Right, which is kind of nice. But I see we have a problem here. The problem is that we have to return a bunch of data out. We have to know how much PP this move has. We have to know how much health the enemy has. No, we can do that. We can do that. I'll explain how this works. We don't need classes yet. We just need tuples. The crew says, that's what I want, that's what I went to the college for. Oh, okay. But I was sick of feeling like a computer, so I got into professional brewing. How's that working out for you, Cruz? Hopefully okay. Okay, so we're introducing a new data type, guys. I didn't realize we're going to run into this problem. So historically in the stream, we've had access to strings, which are textual data, and integers, which are simple numbers. Right? 55, 8 are all integer data. And that's all we've had, aside from booleans. Right? We talked about booleans a little bit, which are true or false data. But we're going to talk about tuples or tuples today. I usually say tuples. I think it might be tuples technically. That's when you feed out like paired data, or data like more than one piece of data at a time. So in this case, here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to return a tuple. We're going to return more than one piece of data, right? So when you make a tuple, you use parentheses, and we're going to say we want, we want to return the Pokebot's HP, right? Because that got changed. And we're going to return out the move's remaining PP. That's all we need. That's all that changed, right? So we fed in some data. The move's PP, Pokemon's name, Pokemon's attack power, the Pokebot's name, Pokebot's HP and defense, right? That's all we need to do this calculation. And then we're going to use that data to do our tackle code like we did before. Things are getting changed around a little bit in here. The move's PP gets reduced by 1. And the Pokebot's health got lowered by a little bit, depending on how much damage we did. And we got some messages out here for the user. Oops, my bad. And now we're going to return some data back out. The changed data is going to return back out. The Pokebot's HP and the move. We'll do it in order. Let's return the move PP. We fed that in first, right? The PP goes in first. My ex-girlfriend taught me that. And then we return the Pokebot's HP as well. Okay, cool. You sick of beer? Oh my God! And Cruz got to change another profession, man. You got to get another profession. You're too wild, man. You got to settle down with one job. Okay. So we have this tackle code now, right? It requires the PP to go in, and the name of the Pokemon's attack power, Pokebot's name, his HP, and defense. Let's use that now. So let's go down here to our code for tackle. We can actually get rid of this code now. We have it all copied above anyway. We're going to make it a little bit easier to read, I would think. We're going to say, hey, listen, if they're input the word tackle, let's run our tackle code. It requires Pokemon move 1 PP. It requires the Pokemon's name. It requires the Pokebot's name, the Pokebot's HP, and the Pokebot's defense. Right, so we're going to run this code. But also we're going to get some data out of it, right? So we fed in a tuple. Actually, the tuple is coming out. We have the return here. It's more than one piece of data in a parentheses. You can actually save that out as well with a multiple assignment. So we're going to actually go here. We're going to say, Pokemon move 1 PP and Pokebot HP equals. Right? So it returns out 2 pieces of data, and we're assigning both those pieces of data. Right? So we're assigning the Pokemon move 1 PP to whatever got returned out here in the first slot. And the second slot is the Pokebot's HP, right? So we're going to save that as well for our records. Pokebot's HP. So there you go. It's kind of a long line there. Right? In Python, you can actually break lines if you like, using this method right here. You can actually go right here. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can actually break your lines this way if it would please you. This is really a dumb way to do this, to be honest. Okay. But just for you guys, just for example, this will prevent the line from breaking, which can be nice. That you can read it all on one screen without having to scroll all over the place, right? This is called a hanging indent. That means you go to where the function name started and you indent 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, bad choice 21-year-old me made. 21 years old. Also, you dropped out of school to work on beer, but now you're sick of beer, huh? Well, look at me. I'm a streamer. I'm a high school dropout, making about $300 a month, working about 70 hours a week on the stream. So you could be doing a lot worse, dude. You're smarter than me. Living some kind of real life. Okay, so we have this, tackle. So we run this tackle code now. We get back the Pokemon move 1 PP and the Pokebot HP. Right? Because we get this tuple back. Right? So we can do that for all of our moves now if we wanted to. But it strikes me that this is not a great example of how to use functions. Because this whole thing where we're returning multiple assignments and stuff, it's so ugly. It's really better suited for our next stream where we talk about classes and data types. So why don't we go back and undo all we just did? It's a really dumb idea, to be honest. I was a fool to think that was going to actually work out well for us. Let's go here. Here's what we're going to do. We're doing something different instead. Gotta find another way to just talk about functions. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to re-indent this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So the reason why we're undoing all we just did is that you want to avoid multiple assignment whenever possible. So I use that thing where I kind of return 2 pieces of data and then I assign 2 pieces of data. It's kind of ugly. It's not good practice in Python. You can do it, but it's not a good idea. It's really a better idea to put data into your function that makes sense as an argument, and then get data out of that function that is one piece of data. That could be a very complex piece of data, right? It could be like an object that might have some attributes to it that are kind of complex. But you want to basically return one thing out. You want to return 2 things out. You want to have them be connected in some logical way. And the moves PP is not really connected to the Pokebot HP in any way. It's kind of sloppy. Let's get rid of this. To Hades! So for instance, I coded this, get the YouTube video, without any classes, because I was too lazy to learn it. My code was awful, and my teacher made me do it again with classes. Good stuff, Surrender. Yeah, again, this is our first day programming. We're not going to talk about classes yet, but yeah, classes are so great, Surrender. You're right. We're going to talk about that more next time. But classes are very important for making your data more sensible, much cleaner. And as you're seeing here, if you're trying not to use classes like me here, some things are a bit more difficult. So I kind of got rid of that code there. We have our tackle back down here again. But let's make something, let's go look at some code that really does repeat all the time. Like this message here. Pokebot name took such and such damage. They now have so much health left. And, tackle now has that much PP remaining. Right. We used that twice at least. We also used it down here, I think. Right. So why don't we make this code simpler with some kind of function called deal damage or something like that, right? Okay, so we have this deal damage function, and we're going to feed in, opponent's HP, and damage to deal, and that's all we need, right? Opponent's HP and damage to deal. Yeah, sure, that'll do. And then we're going to get some data out of that, which is the new HP. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll also call this actual damage, just to be on the safe side. We'll call this actual damage. Actual damage, right? First thing we're going to do is we're going to say if actual damage is less than 0, if it's a negative number, we're going to make sure it's 0. We don't want to heal the opponent, right? Then we're going to say opponent HP equals opponent HP minus actual damage. We're going to print off some data here for the user, right? Oh, we don't know the enemy's name though. That's fine. We can feed that in there too. Okay. So we're going to have, you know, opponent name first. How about that? We're going to say opponent name, opponent HP, then the actual damage. Okay. This code gets repeated a lot, right? This whole thing where we say, you know, they took so much damage. Right, there you go. So printing off some data here. We're changing the HP. We're going to get some HP back to the new HP. Return opponent HP. Okay, so here's what's happening in this code now, guys. We're feeding in the opponent's name, how much health they have, and how much damage we're supposed to do. First thing we do is make sure that the amount of damage is a positive number, right? If it's not a positive number, we make sure that's, you know, no higher than 0 anyway. And then we say their current health is, you know, whatever their old health was minus the damage we're going to do. Then we print off how much damage that was, how much health they have remaining, then we return how much health that is. Right, so let's use that code now down here in tackle and flamethrower. So let's see here. So all this code right here, all these lines get replaced now. We're going to say deal damage. You know, our opponent's name is going to be pokebot name. His HP is going to be pokebot HP. And then we have actual damage being fed in. There you go. And now we can reuse this code, right, in a nice, neat fashion. Make our code shorter. By copying it, and we can replace this code down here for, where is it, tackle. Right, so right here we have all this code. Right here, it can all get replaced with this line, deal damage. Right? That's all he needs. And we also need to save that they have so much health left, right? So we're going to say the pokebot's HP is equal to, you know, deal damage. How much health was returned by that, right? The new health. Do that down here as well. Pokebot HP is, you know, how much damage was, you know, how much health they have left after deal damage. Sorry for sending the YouTube link. I think I should have asked. Oh, it's okay, Surrender. That's totally welcome around here. You can link whatever you want. Rage says, I made it in time for Venka's snack stream. What's up, dude? We're snacking it, dude. We're snacking it. You know we be snacking it. So Tailwhip doesn't do any damage, nor does Growl. But you know who does do damage? This Pokebot, right? Right here, he does damage with his water gun. So we have, you know, if actual damage is greater than 0, all this code is, we already wrote all this code, right? We can replace it. Boom, we can replace all that code with deal damage. We're going to say, you know, the Pokemon's HP, right? We're going to feed in the Pokemon name, not the Pokebot name, and the Pokemon's health. So there you go. We've replaced, what, like, you know, probably saved ourselves, what, like 15 or 16 lines of code just now? By taking all this repeating code of, you know, printing off how much health damage we did and stuff and testing for positivity, we put that in its own little function here now. Right? Deal damage. It calculates to make sure that they're, you know, positive damage. It reduces the opponent's health. And then it prints off some messages about how much health damage was done, how much health is remaining. And then we return the health as well. So we're saying, this is how much health you have left. Make sure you save this data for the next loop, right? Make sure you save how much opponent's health is. There you go. So this code actually should run now just fine. And we saved some lines by using that function. Let's try it. Oh, invalid syntax. I made a typo. Holy shit, guys. It's on line 1. What have I done, guys? What have I done on line 1? Oh, I didn't put def. I'm an idiot. What's wrong with me today? There you go. Now we got a function. Oh, still invalid syntax. Yo. No, I'm so stupid. So stupid. Let's see here. Deal damage on line 88. Oh, I don't have lines. No, I'm so stupid. Let's see here. Pokemon HP. Oh, I missed an equal sign somewhere. Okay, let's see here. Pokemon HP. I missed an equal sign. Ah, right here. I'm so stupid. There you go. What's up, Echo? How you guys doing? Now we're talking. If non-echo is equal to or less than question marks, must lewd, else lewd. I think that's not Python code. But don't lewd. Don't ever lewd. Last dumb comment. I met someone on Reddit that studies Python and owns a Python. That's cool. I've actually never seen somebody with a pet snake. Never played with a snake before. Boom. There we go. So let's use tackle. Oh no, I fucked up again. So we have move PP. We gotta fix that, right? We have to go here and make this into Pokemon move 1 PP. This is from our old function. We forgot to change that back. There you go. We forgot to change that back. Here we go. We gotta fix this too. If Pokemon move 1 PP. There you go. Is that all good? The subtraction now, no. I gotta fix this here. Gotta subtract some PP as well. 0, okay, PP remaining. We gotta subtract right here. Right in the refrigerator. We gotta say Pokemon move 1 PP equals a Pokemon move 1 PP minus 1. There you go. I'm not sure how I lost that code there for reducing the PP. Carbon says we didn't remove PP. Thank you, Carbon. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. But why? How did that get deleted? Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Oh, I removed it from those two. Okay, so it goes before the print. Okay, I see. So, yeah, I gotta make sure I do this right here. We deal damage, then we remove the PP. This is a Pokemon, not Pokemon. Move 2 PP equals a Pokemon move 2 PP minus 1. So I'm not sure how that got deleted, but we fixed it. Thank you for the reminder, Carbanoid. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Okay, let's try this again. Tackle, does it work now? No, I fucked it up again. It's not defined, but I put an E there. Pokemon move PP. I'm stupid. Here we go. Where is that? Pokemon move 1. Pokemon. Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon. There you go. Let's try this. Does it work now? Yeah, something worked. I like to remove the PP before I deal the damage. Wow, Encruise. Wow. Please, Encruise, please. We're making an educational stream for a change. Keep it clean in the chat. Or don't. I really don't care. Okay, so what we got here? So now we did some damage to the Bulbasaur. He has 68 health left. That's not right. Something's gone horribly amiss here. It's supposed to have less than 68 health. What's gone wrong? It says, see, that's in the tackle code, right? Now has 68 health. So right here is our problem. Oh, because we have opponent HP. I'm stupid. Not Pokebot HP. Opponent HP is our new HP. There you go. That should fix that. So our problem there is that we're reporting the Pokebot's HP, even though that wasn't the right variable anymore. We wanted this opponent HP instead. Let's restart this code. Boom. Attack. There you go. Yeah, so we did 40, now he has 64 HP. Right, has 9 PP remaining. There you go. He did damage with his water pistol. Super effective damage, in fact. Let's make sure that we got the our HP being saved. Let's try again. Let's tackle again. Make sure that we're still losing health. Yeah, okay, we're still losing health. Yeah, so he took 4 damage. Now he has 60 HP. Gotcha. It's okay, Encruise. I won't ban you this time, but please be respectful in the future. Don't make me do it, dude. Don't make me do it. If Encruise is equal to Encruise, ban Encruise. No, I wouldn't do that. Not just for that reason. You have to be a real asshole, dude. You'd be like, Vencabot, you suck at Python. Python sucks. Yo, last week we had a guy in here trying to start trouble, man. These programmers in here talking about, they had a big programmer war, like a language war, Encruise. They're like, yo, Python sucks. C-sharp's where it's at. And they're like, C-sharp sucks. Sounds like a big argument. Can you imagine, like, we stream fighting games here, guys. We stream games 40 hours a week, like fighting games, things like that. And it's always civil in the chat. But you do a fucking programming stream, and these fucking nerds, man, they get all pissy. Like, we have, like, sometimes it gets pretty salty, right? In Third Strike, right, Encruise? It gets salty. But we're all very civil. But get some programmers in a fucking room together, and they just fucking start being dicks. That's pretty funny. Anyway, that was not a huge deal last week. We kind of sorted it out pretty quick. Okay, so there you go. We have our first function. Here's what the function does: review, right? The function deals damage, basically, right? We calculate every move, calculates its own damage, right? If we have tackle, calculates its own damage right here. Right? Do some calculations, very simple. Pokemon's attack power minus defense, but flamethrower is a bit more complex because flamethrower can do a super effective damage. So here's its calculation for damage. Wait. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so right here, it's, is it a grass type? If so, it's gonna be super effective. If not, it's regular damage. And then we have this function, deal damage, right? And down here, likewise, we have this calculation for the water gun, kind of complex, for its damage. Right? It might be super effective. It might be not very effective. Or it might just be regular damage. And then we also, once we have the damage calculated, we can just feed that into deal damage, right? So we're saving a lot of code here by just running a very simple function, deal damage. It requires the opponent's name, whoever's taking the damage, their HP as it is right now, and the damage to do. Right? Once we have that data, we can use that data. We use the opponent's name just for this message here. You know. Oh, look, this is the wrong message here. Pokebot name. Oops. I want the opponent name here, not the Pokebot's name. Because it's not always a Pokebot, right? Sometimes it's actually Cyndaquil who takes the damage. There you go. Yeah, so the opponent's name is being used right here to list their name, saying, you know, the opponent took so much damage, right? The opponent has some amount of remaining health, right? We also return the opponent's health now, so we're returning the new health value after they take damage. So you can use that calculation, you know, subtract from their health, give it back, and now we have their health being saved right here, right? Pokebot HP equals deal damage, you know, all that data you fed in there as arguments. So yeah, so it's kind of a weak example of how to use a function properly, because it's not saving us a whole lot of code, and it is a little bit awkward. But that's because we're trying to avoid using classes right now. In fact, I'm starting to think that maybe this is all kind of ill-advised, right? Using all these functions without having classes is kind of a pain. Maybe you should go into some class stuff, huh? Kenny says, oh yeah, I remember that situation. Guy was like, why Python? It's not really a commercially used language yet. People were like, bleh, bleh, bleh. Yeah, it's kind of funny that he's trying to start shit for no reason. It's like, bruh, take it to fucking Reddit, dude. I don't care. We're here to learn about Python. In any case, that was all last week. So basically, we've got kind of a cool little function here running. Like a cool little code here, cool little program. It's very versatile, it's very handy. It's, you know, it doesn't have to be compiled. It runs anywhere. Yeah, it's not exactly used very much in the commercial world, but it's still very cool, I think, for hobbyists, as I explained to that guy at the time. Okay, so we have this little program here that runs a nice little bit of code here. It runs a Pokemon battle. Yeah, Django's used a lot. I guess you're right. I should have mentioned that last week. I surrender. Yeah, Django's used a lot in web programming. You ain't lying. Okay, so why don't we start looking at some new ideas now to make this a little bit simpler? First of all, we need to... well, first, let's give our opponent some other moves aside from this water gun. All right, so we're going to give the opponent... he's going to be a... we'll make him a water type, I guess. Basically, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to get rid of the Pokebot. We're going to give him another Pokemon. We're going to get Pokebot names. It's going to be now, you know, we're going to have Pokemon 1 and Pokemon 2. Right? Because now we're going to have two Pokemon, not one Pokemon, one Pokebot. We're going to make things a little more complex here, but a bit more fun as well. So this Pokebot is going to become Pokemon 2. And I said it's going to be a water type, right? What's a good water type, guys? What's the best water type? We can name him after that. And now he needs also some PP, right? Because he's going to have his own moves now. Okay. Gets his fuck Magikarp. That's the worst water Pokemon. Squirtle is pretty good. You're right, Carbonoid. I like Squirtle. We have Cyndaquil versus Squirtle. Okay. So we're going to have this guy be Squirtle here. So now we have two Pokemon, right? Not just one Pokemon and a Pokebot, but we have two full Pokemon that have 4 moves each. Holy shit. He's going to have the same stats as before, though. A lot of health, kind of low attack power, and a lot of defense. And he's going to have, you know, we'll give him, what are his moves going to be? Shit. What should his moves be? All right, let's make a little note here. Little comment. So Squirtle's moves are, and what are they? We can give him water gun, right? Headbutt maybe. Genku says tackle. We'll give him tackle too. Water gun. Hey, he's way ahead of me. So he has one normal move, one water type move. Tatsumaki. Give him Tatsumaki Senpuken. Tailwhip. Let's give him. Well, we already have Tailwhip. Let's use Tailwhip again. Fuck. Give him Tailwhip. Echo says tackle, bubble, water gun, and Tailwhip. We can give him bubble too. But let's be a little bit more creative, right? Let's give him a Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki Senpuken. Alright, how about that? Tatsumaki Senpuken! Let's give him bubble instead of water gun. Water gun sucks. His little legs, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so he's got some moves now, including a Tatsumaki. So we're gonna give him what? We'll give him like we'll give him 5 bubbles. We'll give him 10 tackles. We'll give him you know, 12 Tailwhips, and we'll give them, like, what, like, 666 Tazumakis. Are you doing Echo? 5 bubbles, dude. Hey, it's only got 5 bubbles, man. Fine, you know what? Friend Cruz, since he's going to cry about it, give him 6 bubbles. How about that? Yeah, life's good, Echo. Life's good. Having a pretty fun stream here. Got a ton of Tatsumakis. More than anyone could ever need. Okay, so let's code these in. Right. So let's go down here to his turn. His turn's gonna look a lot like our Pokemon's turn, the first Pokemon's turn. In fact, we're gonna actually copy paste this code. No, we're not. Fuck that. That's craziness. That's madness. Yes, we are. Let's do it. That'll save us a little bit of time. Let's copy paste all this code here. All right, we're gonna actually use all this code on the Pokebot's turn as well. Oh shit. Oh, it's a raid. What's up, Wesek? How you guys doing? We are interrupting this program to bring you a special bulletin. A peculiar object has been spotted approaching the Earth. It's believed to be a flying saucer. Oh shit. Holy fuck. Is that true, Wesek? Might have to end the stream. Zio says, looking at Python makes me laugh. I'm learning assembly language and you'd think you've seen it all, huh? Not sure I understand. Nani! The second raid today, not too shabby. We're doing okay. Science and tech is love. Yeah, we're actually more of a gaming stream here, guys. We only program on Fridays. Yeah, we were really like a 40-hour week gaming stream. Welcome aboard, guys. We play Street Fighter here a lot, and other type stuff. Play Mega Man Legends, we're into the classics. We're aliens, but we're also friends. Okay, so as long as you guys are friendly aliens, I don't mind that much. How you guys doing? What are you guys streaming earlier today, guys? Are you streaming programming as well? Or something else sciencey related? Good word, Matthias Klund. Thanks for the follow, Wesek. Yeah, we do programming here on Fridays, guys. Don't get discouraged if you see me playing Street Fighter or something. Oh, we always program on Fridays. Web stuff, okay, interesting. We talked about web stuff earlier, about Django in particular, and how it relates to Python. But we're all beginners here, guys. For the sake of learning, we're all beginners. So we're using Notepad, as you can see here. It's not exactly super attractive. We're doing very basic type stuff today. We're looking at program flow with if and elif and else and while, function definitions. In this case, we're going to be looking at, for the first time ever, importing libraries and using lists. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. Let's go back to this code for the Pokebot, right? So we have a Pokemon. He has a turn. I'm going to use some blank lines here. It's getting a little bit nuts. It's getting pretty long code-wise here. Let's make a Pokemon turn. Or let's say Pokemon 1 turn, right? We don't have a Pokebot anymore. We have Pokemon 1. And then down here, we have a Pokemon 2 turn, right? In fact, we have to change this code here. We gotta change a lot of code, to be honest, because we changed some stuff recently here. We're upgrading our Pokebot, which is our opponent, to a full-fledged Pokemon. He's a real boy now. It's already a 4th strike, yeah. Yeah, not that shitty thing. Is 4th strike really that bad? It's more like Rainbow Edition, right? It's pretty fun from right here. What's because I'm not strong with Python, but it's definitely something I've got to learn, along with game development. But you're like a web programmer then? Yeah, Python is great. It's very easy to learn. It's a very simple language compared to other languages, that's for sure. That's what I love about it. It's very clean syntax, very easy to understand. I think you're probably not too far off from being a Python master already, if you're already a web programmer. Python has been fun for Kenny so far, yeah. Angular, React, and Vue and stuff. JS-based. Oh no, Wesek, no! JavaScript is my least favorite language, dude. It's so annoying. I'm sure you know the struggle as a JavaScript programmer. Let's put it this way, Python's a lot cleaner than JavaScript, but that's not saying much. But I love JavaScript, though, because it's very versatile. I love JavaScript. It's used all over the place. It's very powerful. But god damn, is it a pain in the ass. Yeah, not Java, JavaScript. JavaScript is like it's a web language for programming websites and stuff. It's got all kinds of idiosyncrasies, but it is very powerful, very important. All you have to do is Google code blocks. You can do that too. Okay, so let's see here. So we have this Pokebot's turn, right? Or no, he's a Pokemon 2, I guess. So let's first of all fix our code for this part here, the Pokemon 1 turn, right? It's going to do damage to, not the Pokebot anymore, but Pokemon 2. Well, there's going to be a lot of code to change here, guys. I apologize. Let's fix this code. So we're going to have a Pokemon 1 name, right? We have a Pokemon 1, move 1 HP. Now we have a Pokebot and a Pokemon. Excuse me, now we have 2 Pokemon. Okay, so instead of tackling Pokebot, you tackle Pokemon 2. We have Pokemon 1 attack minus Pokemon 2's defense. Okay, we have Pokemon 2's health gets reduced. Alright, we deal damage to the Pokemon 2 name. and Pokemon 2 HP. Right. And then we have Pokemon 1's move 1 gets reduced in PP. Let me print off, you know, Pokemon 1 move 1 has PP remaining. Right? Oh my god, so much code to change. I apologize. This is a Python at Youngly. It's kind of hard to tell because we're using Notepad. It's kind of ugly. There's not a lot of syntax highlighting and stuff. But yeah, we're using Python here. Youngly, guys, welcome aboard to the channel. We are doing an intro to Python. It's for total beginners who have never programmed before in their lives. Not in JavaScript, not in BASIC, it's nothing. It's their first time programming is in Python. And we're making a very simple Pokemon example here. We're making a Pokemon battle. Using Python as our first day, essentially, programming. So if you guys are seasoned programmers, it'll be a little bit basic for you guys. But for some newbies, I think it's pretty educational. But yeah, we're doing very basic stuff. No classes yet, no object-oriented stuff at all yet. Just very basic stuff like assignment here. And we're using so far, only strings and integers as our data types. We have our first ever function definition here to save a few lines of code. We explained before about how arguments work and how return values work. And we have access to print functions. Input here is used once, and we have like while, if, then, else, elif. To be no then. 911 police. Why are you using Notepad? Editors such as Sublime or Notepad++ would be better with syntax. You're totally right, user man, definitely. But again, it's our first day programming here, and I want to prove to newbies that if you want to learn programming, you don't really need any specialized programs. If you have Notepad and you download Python, you're good to go. Right. So in this case, today we're using Notepad. In the future, I think we're going to be learning classes and stuff in our next stream for programming. We're going to use probably idle then, I would think, because idle comes with Python, which is kind of cool. Even though it's not my favorite IDE or anything, but it is, at least it got highlighting, right? And it's not so bright white. The bright white's killing me, but it's all good. So we're beginners here, so we're using Notepad. I'm sure some of you guys remember that, right? Your first time programming? Maybe not. Yeah, tools, it doesn't make you a better programmer. That's true, but they are very useful. But again, I'm really here to prove that if all you have is Notepad, you can go ahead and get started programming. It's all you need. I think a lot of guys don't realize that they can learn programming just with Notepad. Okay, so let's go and continue changing our variable names, guys. So up here, we changed some variable names, right? We changed our Pokemon name and Pokemon type, etc. to Pokemon 1 name and Pokemon 1 type, etc. And then the Pokebot became Pokemon 2. Now, because we changed these variable names, we have to change them lower down in the code as well. Anytime we reference these, we have to change their name again. So it's going to be a little bit of tedium here for a minute. Thanks for the follow, Young Lee. Again, if you guys are experienced programmers, it might be a little bit basic for you guys, but we're basically here getting some education for the younglings. Okay, so let's go on, carry on fixing variable names. If we had syntax highlighting, it'd be a lot easier, but we don't. Let's go through. Pokemon 1, okay, blah, blah, blah. Flamethrower. So we have Pokemon becomes Pokemon 1 now. Okay. Pokemon becomes Pokemon 1. Pokebot becomes Pokemon 2. Right. He gets a type, he's grass. Potentially. Okay, Pokemon becomes Pokemon 1. Pokebot becomes Pokemon 2. I just realized I could actually... I think I could search and replace. I probably could have if I'd done it sooner. Oh well. Okay, Pokebot becomes Pokemon 2. I'm gonna actually do that right now. Let's try that. Is that gonna work for us, do you think? Can I do that with replace? Let's replace Pokemon with Pokemon 1. Oh my god, guys. This am I overreaching here? The education. User man says, idles you must save before running is the one thing that I hate about idle. That would be nice if you could just about saving, right? Idle could be better. There are a few things I don't like about it. A tool is only as good as the person using it, which applies to everything. That's true. Yo, fellow programmers, what's your guys' favorite lingo? Favorite lingo, huh? That's what you mean by that exactly. You mean favorite language? Or you mean favorite actual lingo? My favorite lingo probably is like comprehension. Oh my god, I love comprehensions. Best for language, Python, easily. I don't remember anything besides memory manipulation, huh? You said you were an assembly programmer, right? Userman says, that's got to get a lot of stuff. I can find them, right? I'm going to find them. But I'm afraid it's going to rename shit wrong, right? There you go. I missed that one. Let's replace that one. And replace that one. Replace that one. Replace that one. Here we go. This is faster, right? I'm just making sure I don't replace anything wrong. We got to keep an eye on it. Make sure it's not replacing anything that's going to break something. Okay. All right. Don't need that. Don't need that. That's going to be Pokemon Move 2. We don't need that. Okay, well, actually, we can actually change this. I'll replace it with Pokemon 2. How about that? All right, let's replace that. Hey, look at that. Okay, so we're doing good now. Kind of. No, we're not. No, we're not. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. So let's get rid of all this shit. I don't need this tackle code. Yes, we do. I'm sorry, guys. Let's carry on what we were doing there. Let's replace. Yeah, let's keep on going. Replace. Okay, replace. Pokemon 2 now. Okay. That's good. Good. That's fine. Good. Excellent. Perfect. 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 Okay. Growl's his last move. Let's go. Okay. We're almost done, I think, guys. Okay. Print Pokemon 1 name wins. Replace that. Okay. There, we're done. Okay. Well, username, I'm not really following Pep 8 entirely. We have very long lines here. I love Pep 8, guys, but I'm trying to avoid getting too much into that for beginners. It's not really that important for a total newbie. But I love Pep 8 personally. But yeah, we do have some kind of long lines here. I'm trying to use correct naming conventions, though. Thank you, userman. Young says, you want to code my Java assignment for me? For school, Java. So I haven't used Java in a long, long time. Okay, so I need to read up Pep 8 still. Yeah, Pep 8's kind of nice. But userman says, I haven't really read Pep 8. I mostly let PyCharm tell me what I'm doing wrong. I love Pep 8, guys. But yeah, we're not going too deep into that for the novices. They don't really need to know how long a line has to be and stuff. It's not really that important. They can name their variables whatever the hell they want. But in our case, we're using, I guess I heard today it was called snake case. I didn't know that before. Okay, so let's go through and replace Pokebot now with Pokemon 2. All right, replace our old Pokebot code with the new Pokemon 2 code. We have GitHub, yes, Surrender. We have all of our old projects there, too. It's at github.com/ intro to Vencabot / intro to Python, I think, right? So github.com / Vencabot / intro_to_Python. We have all of our previous projects there. We're learning stuff. Oh, thank you, userman. Thank you, Youngly. I'm trying my damnedest here. Okay, let's find Pokebot stuff. Now, before we had this Pokebot who had all these attributes, right? But now he's Pokemon 2. And again, our next stream for programming, maybe next week on Friday, is going to introduce object-oriented programming. We're going to have classes next week, guys. It's going to make a lot of this easier, trust me. But for now, we're just roughing it out without knowing what classes are. And we're using all these variables. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But we're going to replace all of our Pokebot stuff with Pokemon 2 stuff. Let's go. Replace. That's the last Pokebot? Oh, okay. We got to go back to the top. In fact, I don't think I even want to do that, did I? I did, actually. Okay, let's go back to the tippity top. The tippity top. Here we go. We're replace Pokebots. Let's go. So we just got to become Pokemon 1 anyway. Okay, here we go. Pokebot's going to be Pokebot 2? Yes. Our Pokemon 2. Let's replace that. Okay, replace that and that and that. Yep. We're still in Tailwhip. That's fine. Okay, good. Good. Hopefully this code still works by the end. If it does, it'll be a miracle. I'm going to run this code in a minute, guys. You can see what the code looks like so far in action. So Pokemon 2's turn. Okay, so now for this, we want to actually have this be Pokemon 1, not Pokemon 2. Okay, so let's replace that. Okay. That's excellent. Perfect. Beautiful. Fabulous. Amazing. Right, we're at Flamethrower now. Okay, now we're in Tailwhip. Okay, this is going to be so bust, dude. Okay. Now you're going to be Pokemon 2 again. Okay. There we go. All right, so this code's not going to run right now, actually, because I have this big block here. So let's see here. If he's still alive, we do all this nonsense. But this is to be indented further, huh? That's fine. I'm actually going to delete all this code. No, I can't. We already got rid of our old code. No, the program doesn't work anymore, guys. We broke it. So I can't show you guys the way it used to run. It used to run with a Pokebot instead, who had a water gun attached to him. He's like a robot. He was an abomination, really. But now we have a second Pokemon. Let's get this code working for the second guy here. Thank you, Kenny, for the link. Bro, I started object-oriented programming in my second semester of university programming. Should have just watched your stream. Yeah, I like to move kind of fast. I think people don't give kids enough credit, right? Kids are pretty smart. Thank you for the follow, iGoldie. It's a pretty kind of cool name, iGoldie. We should make a Goldine in honor of you at some point. But yeah, so right now we have two Pokemon. A change from before. We had one Pokemon, one Pokebot. The Pokebot was limited. He didn't have 4 moves. But now we have 2 full Pokemon. But let's get this code indented correctly here. So let's indent this further. Right, let's see here. Oh, here's a problem right here. Okay, that's our problem. So we got to indent all this code. And we're in Notepad, guys. It means a lot of this. In fact, I think I'm going to go on break here while I do this. Just indenting code. You guys aren't missing anything. Life's not fair. Okay, everything's all indented now. Talk about the weight, guys. That OOP. That'd be in our next programming stream, for sure. So usements, I think I started with OOP principles pretty early on. I started with C# and got into framework plugin dev pretty quick past that, huh? Yeah, popped up, yeah. The key tabbing intensifies. So many spaces, man, so many spaces. He put up so we can indent code. Yeah, it's kind of boring to watch. Don't want you guys just staring at me while I'm going, indenting code. Okay, so let's look at our code now, guys. Look at our code. So for the newbies in the chat, the guys that just showed up here, let's look at our code more in depth. Right, here's what's happening, guys. Here's what's happening. First of all, we define this function for dealing damage, right? So most of our moves deal damage, like tackle and flamethrower and bubble and things like that. They do strict HP damage. Now, because we don't have classes yet, we're feeding in some kind of unusual data: the opponent's name, which is a string, and their current health, their HP. If you guys are RPG players, you know what that's all about. And the damage that was calculated for that move. Now, tackle and flamethrower and bubble have different calculations for their damage. So you're feeding in the damage to do. Now, the first thing this function does is it verifies that the damage is a positive number, right? Because if the damage is negative, it'll heal the opponent, right? Let's say that they have, your opponent has 6 defense, and you're going to be doing, 4 damage, right? The way that we calculate defense, that would mean that you're actually doing -2 damage. And that would actually heal your opponent. So the first thing we're doing here is making sure it's a positive number. If it's not, if it's a negative number, make sure it's 0, no higher than 0 damage. Right? You're not going to get no lower than 0 damage. Then you take your opponent's health as it was, and you subtract the damage, right? So let's say that your opponent has 50 health, you're doing 10 damage. Now they have, 40 health. Right? My math skills are terrible. Then we print off some messages for the user here. We print off the opponent's name, and they took some amount of damage. Let me print off how much health that opponent still has, right? That's for the user to see how much health their opponent still has. And then finally, we return the new health. So we did the damage to the opponent, and now we return what their new health is. Right? So the first thing we do is define that function. What do you do for a career? I stream 40 hours a week only, and when the stream ends, I'm going to stream all night long. It's not a super lucrative career, but it's what I'm doing right now. Mega Man Legends and Cruise? Hell yeah, with Mega Man Legends, dude. The problem with Notepad? No tab to 4 spaces option. Yeah, it's a lot of space. Let me go grab something to eat. Yeah, take your time, Westek. We're going to be here for, another hour or so? It was indeed Mega Man Legends, guys. Our current long play on this channel. Okay, after this, we define some arguments. I'm going to lower the volume here a little bit. We're enjoying the music of my friend Aubdat, to be clear. That's Aubdat, AUBDAT.bandcamp.com. Very cool guy. Ambient music, good for programming, I find, but this one was a little bit loud. He says, that's so dope. I haven't seen that in damn near 2 decades. Such a good game. Speaking of greater than 0 damage, the first few Final Fantasy games used negative damage for healing. Oh, did they? In turn, that's pretty interesting. Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, Albdet.bandcamp.com. Free music, guys. Free music. What up, Glassjaw? Go get that free music, man. He's an awesome artist. I'm a huge fan. Okay, so we defined some variables now for our Pokemon 1. That's the one we play as, basically, right? His name is Cyndaquil. It's a simple string. His type is fire, also a string. That's textual data for you guys that are new to programming. Then he has HP, attack power, defense, and PP amounts for all of his moves. Those are all just integers. Now, if you guys are not Pokemon players, you might not realize that in Pokemon, every attack has a limited number of usages, right? So he can only tackle 10 times, and then he's out of tackles, right? He's all out of tackles. He has 5 flamethrowers. So every time he uses a move, this number gets reduced. Once it hits 0, he's done. He can't use any more of that move, right? But now we used to have a pokebot. Now we have a second Pokemon. He's Pokemon 2, right? We have Squirtle, that's his name. And he has a type which is water, it's a string. And likewise, like our first Pokemon, he has HP, attack power, defense, and PP for all of his moves. Right now, his moves are going to be Bubble, Tackle, Tailwhip, and Tatsumaki Senpuken. Right, so he has 6 of Bubbles, 10 Tackles, 12 Tailwhips, and 666 Tatsumaki Senpukens. Right. So he's not really quite like a Cyndaquil. He's got his own thing going on there. He's a martial artist. Yeah, Urine's got a lot of tackles. Okay, so the first thing we do after we've defined our 2 Pokemon with simple attributes is we print off what moves are available for Cyndaquil. That way our player knows what moves they have access to. So Cyndaquil, we have this message here, Pokemon name, Cyndaquil's available moves are, we print off, he's got Tackle, he's got Flamethrower, Tail Whip, and Growl. Those are Harsmiths, how you guys doing, man? Our 3S guys are here. Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Okay, so now we enter our main gameplay loop. In the gameplay loop, the Pokemon take turns picking a move and then attacking each other. Right? So this loop runs while Pokemon 1 HP is greater than 0 and Pokemon 2's HP is greater than 0. So if both Pokemon are standing, we keep on doing this loop. If one Pokemon is fainted, then we move on past this loop. Userman says, if we're going by Pokemon anime logic for moves, Squirtle having that crazy name move is basically canon. Pokemon anime logic, huh? I didn't know they had cool names like that in the anime. Yeah, Squirtle can tattoo in this game, yeah. What's up, Mr. Anderson? This is Python 3, Mr. Anderson. We ain't fucking around with 2 anymore. That shit's old hat. I remember when I programmed with 3, what was it, like 4 years ago or something like that? I was like, shit. A lot of programs still run in 2. But now 3 is much more widely accepted. I'm not gonna fuck around with 2 too much here with the beginners. Welcome aboard, Mr. Anderson. Okay, so first thing we do in this combat loop, we print a blank line to separate us from this block right up here, right? The block where you list all of our moves. And then we ask the user for some text, right? We ask them, hey, listen, what move should Cyndaquil use? Right? So up here they know the moves they have. They have Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl. Now we ask them which one they want. Right? So on Pokemon's turn, on Pokemon 1's turn, we compare the text that the user inputted with our list of known moves, and then we use that to figure out what kind of calculation to do. Right? So we say if the inputted text by the user is Tackle, right? If it was Tackle, then we reduce that move's PP. Or excuse me, no, if it's a 0 already, so let's we say if Tackle's PP is 0, then we tell them, hey, listen, Tackle has no remaining PP. Right? It's empty. It's done. And then we continue. And then continue makes us go right back to the top of the loop again. So we don't, you don't lose your turn. You don't get penalized. You go back and get your turn again. What move do you want to use? I think we're going to try and learn dictionaries today, Hars. I think we're going to try and, we've got like half an hour left. I might try and do dictionaries, but I've been kind of slower than I expected here, to be honest. It would make things a lot simpler, right, Hars? It would. Classes would make this a lot easier. Dicts would make it simpler. We're going to do lists, hopefully, before the end of the stream. But in this case, yeah, we're kind of limiting ourselves to beginner concepts, which makes it a little bit unwieldy in some cases. A little bit unwieldy. But we're going to get into dicks soon, in any case. How you doing, Hars? Okay, so if we're using Tackle, if that Tackle's out of PP, he doesn't have none left, right? You can't use it. So we go back to the top, ask again, what move do you want to use? But if we do have PP left, we get to this code right here. We print off, Cyndaquil, Tackled, Pokemon 2 name, that's Squirtle, right? So we'd say Cyndaquil, Tackled, Squirtle. Then we calculate the damage, which is very simple here. It's Pokemon 1's attack power minus Pokemon 2's defense. So Tackle would do how much damage to Squirtle. Pokemon 1's attack is 8, Squirtle's defense is 4. So we do 4 damage to Squirtle. That tanky son of a bitch. There's not much dependency injection in it, oh my god. Dependency injection. Let's try and avoid that for all time if possible. Okay, so let's see here. Now we have the actual calculations right here for damage. And then we use our deal damage function right here. Right? So we save our new health for the opponent. So Pokemon 2's HP is our opponent, right? So it's opponent's health. And that's returned by deal damage. We give them the Pokemon 2's name, their current health, and the damage we're going to be doing to that Pokemon, right? Actual damage. Up here, we can review that code real quick. That simply makes sure the damage is positive, and then it prints off some messages about how much health is remaining, how much damage you did. Very simple. Okay, and we print off how much PP is remaining right here. We subtract the PP, right? So they lose 1 usage of their skill. They used up a Tackle, so we reduce their PP count there. We print off a message. Your Tackle has so much PP remaining. Okay, not too shabby. Har says, I would love a series on digging into the code of old games, especially fighters, huh? I think that there's not a lot of source code out there for that. That'd be cool if there was, though. Except older stuff made in assembly, you can leave that in the past, yeah. I think a lot of the classic games, again, their code, their source code is not available to us. Okay, so now we have a second move here with flamethrower. So we're saying, hey, listen, if they typed in tackle, then run this code, right? We say elif they entered flamethrower, run this code. What that means is, if they didn't input tackle, right? Else means otherwise. So we say elif means otherwise if. So was it tackle? No. Otherwise, was inputted text flamethrower. If it was, run this code, right? First we check for PP. If it doesn't have any PP, we report that it doesn't, and we go back to the top, just like before. We have a little message here, Cyndaquil blue flames at Squirtle, right? Then we do critical hit damage, right? Got critical damage with this one. We say, hey, listen, if Squirtle's type is grass, then it's super effective, right? Flames do really good damage against grass, so it might do double the damage, right? If that's the case, Pokemon 1's attack is multiplied by 2 before we subtract the defense. I might do close to double damage there. Thank you for the follow, Dice4321. It's kind of a cool name. 4321. I like that. But if it's not grass type, see else, otherwise, if they're not a grass type, just do regular damage. Same as tackle. Right? Pokemon 1 attack power minus Pokemon 2 defense. Very, very simple. But this one has a chance to do critical hit damage because it's an elemental attack, flamethrower. We do the same code as before. We subtract their health. Their health just changed by the deal damage function. Then we subtract the PP and print a message about it. Pretty simple. What are we talking about here? But you might like live overflows videos on the CTF game, Pwn Adventure 3, a capture the flag game, huh? He goes into its internals a lot and also gets into hacking it. Cool. Can you give us an example using yield instead of return? Yield? Not yet, no. We can do that in the future, though, when we start dealing with iterators and stuff, and generators. That would be cool, though. Yeah, not today. Okay, we also have Tailwhip, right? So if it's not, if they didn't input tackle or flamethrower, we do Tailwhip. That actually doesn't do any health damage. It actually does damage to your attack power. Excuse me, your defense, right? And so their defense right here gets lowered. Right? Defense Pokemon 2 gets lowered by 1. Right? Pretty cool. And if they have negative defense, it gets raised to 0. And there you go. Print a little message for the user. And finally, we have Growl, which lowers attack power. Very simple. And now we have the little bit more advanced turn than before. So before we had this pokebot, right? We would say, if the pokebot's health was greater than 0, if he was still alive after our turn, he gets a turn, right? But we only had one move. We only had one move, which was a gun attached to him. It was a water gun. Not like a Glock, but a water gun. And in that one move, there's a water element, right? No matter what he was, it could be like a fucking, it could have been a Charizard, but he still had this water pistol attached to him. That's all he could use. He was just a robot. That's really simple code. But now we're going to give our opponent 4 moves as well. Right? Okay. So his code is very similar to our code now. He has all this stuff about, tackling, and he has flamethrower temporarily, and he's got, Tailwhip and Growl. So he has all of our same moves now. Right? So now we have 2 Pokemon, both with 4 moves. So, first of all, why don't we review what moves our Squirtle has access to? He's got Bubble, Tackle, Tailwhip, and Tatsumaki Senpugen. Let's put Tackle on top so we can reuse that code. We already have the Tackle code there in that number 1 spot. Right, so I'm actually going to fix this now. So we have Tackle on top with 6 PP, and Bubble with 6, the second move. Likewise, isn't Tailwhip the 4th move, the 3rd move of our guy here? It is, actually. Okay, so Tailwhip is in the right spot as well. So we can actually reuse the code for Tailwhip and Tackle. We have to rewrite Flamethrower with Bubble. In fact, it's a very similar move, right? And then Growl with Tatsumaki Senpugen. Right, so let's go down here and fix this. So I guess for now what we'll do is we will let the user pick what move the opponent does. It sounds like cheating, right? And it is. But we're going to do it for now to make the code simpler. So up here we have, the user gets they get the chance to enter a move name for Cyndaquil. But we're going to use this code down here as well to let them enter a move for Squirtle. Right, so it's kind of like, think of it like a rigged Pokemon fight, right? Like imagine there's a sadistic trainer out there who has 2 Pokemon. He's forcing them to fight. They're both his Pokemon, but he loves the sight of Pokemon blood, so he's making them fight. It's kind of a sad picture, but that's the way life works sometimes. Okay, so we're going to say what move should Pokemon 2 name use, right? So what move should our friend Squirtle use? Right, so we need to choose both sides. We're actually controlling both sides. So he doesn't have Flamethrower, he has Bubble, right? So we say, hey, listen, you want to use Bubble? If they do, we have to change this to say bubble has no remaining PP. And we're going to say he blew bubbles at, not flames. And listen, if he's a fire type, then it's super effective. But also, if he's a grass type, we say elif Pokemon 2 type is grass. We're going to say, hey, listen, it's not very effective, right? Because if you blow water at grass, it actually doesn't hurt him that much. Leave the bubbles on fire and call it a feature. Let's do that then. Well, yeah, we can say, you know, he blew fiery bubbles at, even though it's still a water type move. But it's our code, right? So they can be fiery bubbles. Who cares? I always say that they're orange bubbles, right? That's kind of makes you wonder why they're orange. It kind of adds that depth to it, right? That poetic depth that gets your brain working. Why are they orange bubbles? Kind of gross. Okay, yeah, it's not very effective though, right? If it's a grass type, we're gonna say, listen, now the actual damage is going to be, you know, our Pokemon 2's attack power divided by 2. Right, so it's going to do much less damage than it would normally do. Right. Otherwise, it's do regular damage. Maybe there are oil bubbles, which would make them on fire just fine. Ah, oil bubbles. Yeah, maybe they're like incandescent, huh? Not incandescent, iridescent. Okay, so now we have bubble. Very simple, very similar to flamethrower. That should complete our code there. Okay. It's kind of cool, right? Oily bubbles. Let's fix that. The chat has spoken. The chat has spoken. I'm just a puppet on a string for you guys. Okay, so we have Tailwhip, same Tailwhip as before. It's the same exact code. That's fine. But he also has a Tatsumaki Senpuken. Okay. And we're going to say, you know, Tatsumaki is never going to run out of PP, right? It's got 666, so... Tatsumaki Senpuken. Yeah, it's never going to run out, though. It's got a huge amount of PP. That's fine. Just like me. Blue Ava says, you explain a lot better than my programming professor, which seems like he's teaching me Chinese. I'm sorry, Blue Ava. Sorry to hear that. If you have any questions, please let me know, guys. Again, we're kind of limited right now. We're kind of limiting ourselves to these ideas here. Here's our tool set, right? The beginner's programmer's tool set. We've got variables. We have integers, strings, and booleans. We have, you know, mathematical operations, textual concatenation for combining stuff, and comparisons for, you know, conditional expressions like greater than, less than, equivalent to, or not equal to, etc. We finally have very simple logic, you know, in our first day programming, like if, else, elif, while, including a break and continue statements within while loops. And finally, just a few functions here, like print, input, str, and int. And also we can make our own functions with arguments and return data. But yeah, we're kind of not using classes yet. We're not using dictionaries quite yet, or lists. But we might get that later today, I hope. I hope. We have, what, about half an hour left before we play some worms. Okay. So it's Tatsumaki Senpuken, right? Let's fix this here. So he actually, you know, he executed a whirling kick at so-and-so. Right, the Tatsumaki. And we're going to actually give this, what, a little bit more damage, right? So let's say, you know, we're going to multiply his attack power, you know, by like, I don't know, 1.5. Wait, what? Pokemon attack. Oh, yeah, this is not the HP. Oh, I'm sorry. This is originally going to be growl, right? So we're going to lower attack power. Let's actually fix that. Let's say actual damage equals the attack power, Pokemon 2's attack, times 1.5 minus Pokemon 1's defense. Welcome aboard, Blue Ava. Kind of cool. Is that an Evangelion handle? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay, so we're going to have, you know, we have the damage gems. Let's actually copy this code from right here, right? This code right here for dealing damage. Thanks for the follow, Blue Ava. We're like a gameplay stream here. 40 hours a week of gameplay for the most part. We play a lot of Street Fighter, some retro games, some modern games, some online stuff every now and then. But we program here on Fridays. Every Friday if I'm available. I think maybe I'm going to be gone next Friday. I think I might be gone next Friday. But when I'm here, which is most of the time, on Fridays, we do programming. Mr. Anderson, the thing that has tripped me up the most times when moving from Python 2 to 3 is division versus double / for ints. I don't think I've run into that myself. What is that? Can you explain to me, Mr. Anderson? You can't divide. Oh, wait, it returns a different value, right? Yeah, that is pretty weird. Yeah, I don't want to go into that too much here on the beginner's tutorial. But yeah, I think what we're talking about is like they return, yeah, exactly. That's really confusing. Yeah, they return different types. That's really annoying. It's always a float, yeah. Thanks for the follow, Userman, too. Again, we program here on Fridays. Don't get disappointed if you see me playing Street Fighter 3 Third Strike most of the time. Again, just wait till Friday. We'll do some more programming, I promise. Okay, so let's deal some damage, right? I'm not trying to lower health anymore. They're right here. Right here. Oops. Need a line break. Boom. There you go. Okay, so now we're dealing damage, and now we're lowering the PP. That's all well and good. And we're going to say, Tatsumaki Senpuken. Tatsumaki Senpuken has that much PP left, huh? Okay, he doesn't get shut down anymore, right? He faints. Because he's not a robot anymore. He's fainted. There you go. Okay, I think this code should work now. I mean, I changed a lot of code, right? So you'd think we were probably going to run into some kind of syntax errors. I probably got a typo in there somewhere. But hey, maybe it'll work first try, squad. What do you guys think? Blue Ava says, I was already checking out your YouTube in case I'll be able to follow your lessons. Oh, good stuff, man. Yeah, I post these usually like 2 days after we play them on Twitch on YouTube. At youtube.com/Vencabot archive. Since I'm from Europe, and this time zone for me is meh to stay awake, dude. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty late over there, right? So what? Europe, you must be, I'll bet you anything, you are probably, what, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, Carbon, what's your question, man? Deal damage. Let's go look at deal damage, shall we? I have a lot of friends that are in, the Nordic regions, like Finland and Sweden, that kind of area. A few friends from the UK. Does that change with Pokemon 2's turn? You would think that, right? But look how clean our code is here. We feed in an opponent name, right, and the opponent HP. We don't feed in that. Well, it doesn't care if it's Pokemon 1 or 2 that takes the damage, right? So we're saying we feed in the opponent's name. So for our Pokemon 1, the opponent will be Pokemon 2, right? And for Pokemon 2, the opponent is Pokemon 1. We feed that in, whatever it is, we feed that in there. Whatever the hell it is, we feed that in there. And the damage. We do the calculations on it, right? Then we return the new health of our opponent. Right? We return that opponent's health. So really, it's the same code, whether it's Pokemon 1's turn or Pokemon 2's turn. We just feed in different data. I'll demonstrate that, right? So here in Tackle for Cyndaquil, we feed in Pokemon 2's name. Right? We feed in Squirtle's name. We feed in Squirtle's health. Right? Meanwhile, on Squirtle's Tackle, we feed in Pokemon 1 name, that's Cyndaquil, and Pokemon 1's health, right? And we save that to Pokemon 1's health. So even though we're doing damage to the opposite Pokemon, we use the same function. I'm sorry if that didn't make any sense. So Mr. Anderson says, Userman 2, yeah, I know what they do. Just muscle memory makes me use slash and expect integer rounding. Yeah, I kind of like that it defaults to a float, but what's weird to me is that it returns a float even if it's, a whole number. Oh, but Venka, what if there are multiple Pokemon with the same name? Oh my god, this actually doesn't cause a problem. The name is just a string. It's not actually used. We don't have classes yet. We don't have objects yet, Coolhand. So really the name doesn't really matter at all. Because we're just passing around all these globals, basically. There's like a bunch of globals here, really. So it's not really the most clean of code because we're kind of newbie programmers here. So we don't have classes yet. We have just a bunch of random variables floating around right now. They're not very well organized. I was wondering why we didn't use the variable names we already set up in that function. Yeah, that's exactly why. Global variable, cool, I know. We don't have classes yet or anything, so it's a bunch of just floating variables around for now. To make the fight end, do you simply use a while for HP? Exactly, Blue Eva, yeah, right here, in fact. So while the while loop is running, we're taking turns. Here's the condition for the while loop, right? It says while Pokemon 1's HP is greater than 0, and Pokemon 2's HP is greater than 0, keep on looping. Right, so as long as both Pokemon are standing, keep on looping. As soon as that ends, as soon as one Pokemon falls down, we go down to the very bottom, right here, and we ask, hey, which one of you fell down? Right, so we say if Pokemon 2's HP is less than or 0, we say, hey, listen, he fainted, right? Pokemon 1 wins. Otherwise, we know that Pokemon 1 fainted, we say Pokemon 2 wins. This is level 1 code since it just hatched out of its egg exactly. Day 1, level 1, lesson 1 code. Yeah, next time we're going to get more into classes and methods and attributes, and it'll be a lot cleaner, trust me. But for now, it's a little bit noodly. You should make an OP Mankey, the Underground King. We should do that. Yeah, you're right. But first, we're going to finish this code here. Okay, so now we have... I think this code should work, right? We control both Pokemon for now, though. We're going to change that in a minute. But for now, we control both Pokemon. Let's see if this works at all. I probably have tons of typos. I apologize in advance. Okay, so here's our typo number 1, right? Right up here in the print statement. We have no Pokemon name. So way up here, we're going to print off Pokemon 1 name, what his available moves are, right? We should also print Pokemon 2's available moves as well now. Let's paste this. Now we have 2 Pokemon with their own moves. Pokemon 2's available moves are Tackle, Bubble, Tailwhip, and Tatsumaki Senpuken. Tatsumaki Senpuken! There we go. Alright. See if this runs now. Big money, no whammies! Hey, look, it's kind of working a little bit. Let's see if this works. Might want to use MyPy and CMD to catch scan for errors, since you are using NP. I have no clue what that means. I think I've heard of MyPy before. Okay, so we can pick between Cyndaquil's moves now. Let's start simple with Tackle. Okay, hey, okay, so we did some damage, right? So Squirtle took 4 damage. Squirtle has 64 HP remaining, and Tackle has 9 PP remaining. So now Squirtle's going to use Tackle. Okay, so Squirtle tackled Cyndaquil. Now Cyndaquil took 4 damage. He has 51 HP remaining. Okay, so it seems like it's working, right? Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. I don't know what that is. Oh, is that Ken's super? Okay, so our code seems to be working okay. Let's have Cyndaquil use Tailwhip. Okay, so we Tailwhip Squirtle, so Squirtle has less defense now. Squirtle's going to use Bubble. Now, Cyndaquil is a fire type, so it should do double damage, right? Oh, Notepad, I see. And MyPy is a static code analyzing tool. Okay, good stuff. I'll keep that in mind for next time, user man. But we're going to move away from Notepad in the future, I think. For our Lesson 1 streams in the future, we're going to come back to this later on, I think, maybe in a few weeks. Probably go back to Notepad. But for our streams involving classes and stuff, they'll probably be idle, I think. Okay, so we're going to use Bubble and see if it's super effective. Oh, it is. So Squirtle blew oily bubbles at Cyndaquil. It's super effective. Cyndaquil took 10 damage, and now it's 41 HP, and Bubble has 5 PP left. Okay, well, that's cool. I'm going to actually growl at this man to lower his attack power. Okay, so I took 10 damage just now. All right, let's growl at him. Okay, now I'm going to try and use Bubble again. So it did 8 damage now, right? So because his attack power got lowered down. So because this game sucks and we're shitty programmers here, it's our first day, I can actually use Growl repeatedly and reduce my man's attack power to 0. Let's do that. So you're going to use Growl. Alright, so now Squirtle has less attack power. He's going to use Tackle. Okay, did 2 damage. I'm going to use Growl again to lower his attack power even more. We're going to Tackle again with Squirtle. Only 1 damage. I'm going to use Growl one more time. And now Squirtle is totally fucking helpless, doing 0 damage. What a loser. Now, an actual Pokemon, there'd be, on the Game Boy, there's ways to prevent this from happening, right? This would normally never happen. Exactly, Userman. But, Userman, we're actually going to add some AI now. So basically, the code's working, right? The code is fully working. The code is fully working. So we can just go ahead and, we can use a flamethrower if we want to. Squirtle can't do anything. Even Bubble, I think, does no more damage, right? Let me see here. Oh, no, Bubble does 2 damage still. Okay. Cool beans. Cool beans. So, yeah, so we can go ahead and end the fight. Let's just go ahead and keep on tackling. Wait. Is my man's health not getting lowered? 54? No, he's getting lowered very slowly, though. Very slowly. I'm sorry. Let's use Bubble and use Tackle and use Bubble and use Tackle. We're going to end this fight here. Okay, so right now, oh, Bubble's on a PP. Oh, shit. Well, he has to use Tatsumaki, then. No, let's use something shorter than that. Let's use Tackle. And use Tackle, and use Tackle, and use Tackle. Okay. So now they're even. And now finally Cyndaquil's in the lead. What's up, Rat? We're trying to end this fight here, guys. They're both tackling. Oh, they're out of PP? Fuck. Cyndaquil, use Flamethrower. Okay, you can use Tackle, though. Okay, so now Squirtle's going to die next turn, thank God. Ah, fuck. Alright, use Tatsumaki. Oh, he doesn't know that move. Shit. Oh, it's Cyndaquil's turn. Oh, use Flamethrower. Wait. That's a typo. We gotta fix this code, right? What move should Squirtle use? Oh, no, it's Tuples' turn. Oh, wait. Oh, look! Look what happened. I typed in the wrong code. I typed in the wrong string here for Squirtle's code, right? Let's go around here, right? For Squirtle, he had no PP for tackle, right? So it says, hey, listen, you have no PP, continue. So it gave Cyndaquil another turn. It jumped back to the top and gave Cyndaquil another turn. We got a bug there. Thankfully, we're going to fix this by giving him his own AI. It's not going to be an issue in the future, but it's an interesting bug. What's up, Frat Rat? Hey, did you try out PyCharm? It's a pretty neat version of Python. No, I've not tried PyCharm myself. I've heard good things about it, though. Welcome back, Frat Rat. I think I met you yesterday. Ignite, Blue Eva. I'll see you around, man. I'll see you around. If I don't, I'll probably get hit by a car. If I've not get hit by a car, I'm going to be here. Guaranteed. Okay, so there's a bug here where if we have no PP left, we go back to the top. We're going to have to fix that in a minute, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's just end this fight here. Okay, so Squirtle has fainted, Cyndaquil wins. Game over. Right, thank God. That was kind of tedious. But now we can give Squirtle some AI. So right now we're choosing all of Squirtle's moves. That's not very realistic in a competitive game. Let's give Squirtle his own initiative. Good stuff, Rat Rat. Yeah, it sounds like my friend Kyo is a fan of yours. So any friend of Kyo is a friend of mine. It's a pleasure to meet you. Okay, so as of right now, we are choosing all of Squirtle's moves for him. But here's what we're going to do instead, right? We're going to make a list of moves for Squirtle and then choose a move from that list at random. Right? Now, previously, we have not talked about lists. We have, what, about 10 minutes left here? Do I have time to go on about lists a little bit? Let's do that. So I'm going to make a new document here. A few beginners out there, and a lot of you guys are experienced programmers, I know. But we're going to save this as a list example. .py. Yeah, Kyo is a guy named Hispanic Jap. Also goes by the Pharmacist 3S. Katsumi Moria, I think, on PS4. He's one of America's strongest players, and I'm very grateful to call him a friend. So maybe you don't remember him, but he knows of you. He's like, yo, Fry, yeah, get him in here. So he must like your playstyle in some respect. He's on Steam as Bitches and Ragtags. Bitches and Ragtags. Okay, so we're gonna discuss lists. List data finally. So in the past we've had our string equals some text, right? We've had our integer is some number, right? But now we're gonna talk about our list. Now a list is an object in Python that is like a sequence of data that you can iterate through. So you can actually go through each individual item in the list. So we're gonna say square brackets, I start it, and we're gonna put both our string and our int in there. Boom. So we have this list now, and it's got two objects in it. One is a string and one is an integer. And we can reference the data in a list using its index. So here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to print off our list, right, to show the entire list, for one thing. Let's try this. So we're going to say py, list example .py. Okay, so we have our list here, right? The list has some text and a number. Let's go into a repo. Westek, all of our code goes onto our GitHub. Yeah, that's at github.com/vencabot/intro_to_python. So that's at github.com/vencabot/intro-to-python. All of our past projects are there as well. Yeah, thank you again, Kenny. Yeah, so we have this very simple list here, right? We print it off right here. So it has a string, some text, and an integer in it. But we can actually access the data in a list by its index, right? So by a number. So the first item in a list is at index 0. And second one's at index 1. We're just going to put in some colors here too, like red, green, blue. Right? So actually print this off as it is right now. We have some added some things to our list here. They're comma separated. They're all strings except for that one in the middle, which is an integer. Okay, so we have some text. We have 7. We have red, green, and blue in our list. Right? Now let's say I want to access our string. That's at index 0. So lists start at a 0 index. And they go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So if you're not a programmer, it'd be kind of counterintuitive to think about it this way, but the first item in a list is 0, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's print off our list 0. See the square brackets there? We actually access only the first item. There, so some text. I'm going to access, our list 3. Right? What's it going to be, do you think, guys? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? It's going to print off green, I hope. There you go, right? So we printed off green. So a list is kind of cool because you can actually access the data in a list by its index. Right? So it's kind of useful for some situations. Now here's how we're going to use that in our code. We are going to make a list of Squirtle's moves. Let's make an example, right? Example move list, right? We're going to make a list here. It's going to say tackle, bubble, Tailwhip, and Tatsumaki Senpuken. Right? So we have this move list now, right? Here's what we're going to do. Instead of using, our old code was like this, right? It was like, inputted text equals, input function with the prompt of being like, please enter a move, right? Something like that, right? And then we would say, if inputted text equals, tackle, then, or, equals tackle, then do, tackle, right? Do tackle. That's how it used to work, right? Back in the day. But now we're going to, instead of having the user input text, we're going to use a random number for an integer. So we're going to say inputted text equals, instead of this, we're going to say it's going to be example move list with, some number, and it'll pick one of these numbers at random from this list. Right? Yeah, cool. It's Tatsumaki Senpuken, man. Just like it sounds. It's a spinning kick. It's a jumping spinning kick. Gotta imagine Squirtle leaping into the air and doing a helicopter kick at you. That's what he does. He learns it at level 45 in the new Pokemon games. Okay. So now instead of having, the inputted text be from the user, we're going to be saving this text as a random index from this list of moves. Right? So it'll pick one of these moves at random from this list. But for that, we have to look at, finally, importing data into Python. Let's talk about that very briefly here, guys. So here's something that we haven't really gone over yet with you beginners. And that's that aside from the built-in functions, I'll look at those real quick. We have this documentation here at docs.python.org, library reference. And then we have this built-in functions. We've been using these, right? These are all built-in functions, like print. Here we have print. We also have, we've been using str. Where is that at? Right here. And we've also been using input right there, right? But Python and other programming languages, they have other code you can make use of that's not in the built right into Python. You can import tools into your code from elsewhere. Now, thankfully, Python has what it's called a standard library. All right, so let's look at the standard library. So aside from the built-in functions, Python also has libraries such as string, re, difflib, textwrap, Unicode data, string, grep, readline, struct, codex, datetime, calendar, collections. These are all little groups of tools that you can import into your code to make use of. Now, in our case, we're going to actually import some random number code. Right here, see? The random library that can generate pseudo-random numbers. And from our random library, we're going to actually import a function called randint, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Randint. It turns to integer. Okay, cool. So let's go do that real quick. So first of all, we're going to keep this in our example code. Let's make it real simple, right? So let's actually get rid of this. Get rid of all this. We're actually just going to have our move list. Right? And we're going to say print, our random index is, let's actually make an object here. We're going to say, random index equals, get a random number. Then we're going to say, print our random index is plus the string version of our random index. Then we're going to say print our random move name is, we're going to add in our example move list, which is a list of, strings, at our random index. Right? So let's see how this works. Yo, let's go, Frat Rat. Getting real interesting. We're going to have some actual AI going here. I'm fucking excited. But we can't use randint without importing that random library. So at the very top of your Python script, you want to do your imports. Previously, we've only been using built-in functions. We have done no imports. Now, finally, we're going to import something. We're going to import random. So now we have this random library at our disposal inside of our code. Right? Now, our random index, we're going to use this random library, but we're going to actually use the randint function inside of it. Right? So in Python and most languages, the period is used like an apostrophe S in English. Right? So we're saying random's randint function. Right? So we're saying it belongs to the random library. We're using a randint. So we imported random. Now we're going to use random's randint function. And it takes two arguments. One is the lowest integer you want to get, and one is the highest you want to get, I think. I hope. Let's go double check. Is it the highest or is it the highest plus 1? Let's see here. So the random number is going to be, yeah, so it's the highest number you want. Okay, so we want the highest number to be 5, right? No, 4. No, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to get a random number between 0 and 3. It'll be 0, 1, 2, or 3. All right, so let's run this code and see if it works. So we have this random index. It's going to be using a random integer between 0 and 3, including 0 and 3. And we're going to print off our random index, and then we're going to print off our random move name from this list. Why not use length example move list? Yeah, good idea, Swarm. You're right. In this case, we have four moves. It's Pokemon. They always have 4 moves. But yeah, let's use the Swarm logic. So basically, we can talk about length, right? Thank you, Swarm. Len is a built-in function that returns how long your list is. Right? So let's actually do that real quick. Let's actually comment these lines out. We're not going to use these lines yet. And we're going to print off a message about how long our list is. So we're going to print, our move list is, plus, let's actually make another variable here, actually. Let's say, move list length is equal to length, len, of our example move list. So this returns an integer that tells us how long our list is. And we're going to actually print that out here. Okay, hopefully this works. Welcome aboard, Swarm Logic. Choice is good, yeah. What's up, Locust? How you doing, dude? They never had a chance. Or choice moves. Choice? I never heard of choice before. What is choice? Sorry, guys, got sidetracked here. Let's see here. Built-in functions. So where does choice come from? What is choice? How does it work? They're like Swarm. It's a very beginner type stream here. I don't want to get too complicated for these beginners. But yeah, we're talking about length though. So let's run this code here. Okay, it works. So our move list is 4 in length, right? Let's actually add that. All right, so len is a really simple built-in function. Right, you can see it right here. It takes one argument, which is a list, and it brings back an integer of how long that list is. Oh, it's random. Thank you. It's a random. Interesting. I'm going to actually use randint, though, because I want to talk about indexes here. But it's interesting. It's a random choice, huh? Oh, nice. Smileys, man. That's pretty cool. But yeah, for now, we're going to use random int, though, because we're talking about indexes here. But I'm going to use that choice thing later for sure. Okay. So let's add another item to this list, right? We're going to actually add, like, let's go here and add a 5th move. Right. 5th move, right? So now it's going to give us a new return value for len, right? So we have this len example move list. It's going to return 5 now, you would hope, right? Let's find out. 5 in length. Nice. Cool. So now we're going to use this as a part of our random number generation, right? We're going to say, hey, listen, I want a random integer between 0 and the length of our list, right? Minus 1. Because it returns the length from, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the indexes are 0 through 4. Right? So because of that, we're going to subtract 1. So we don't want to have, 5 as our highest number. We want 4 as our highest number. Or in this case, we're going to actually lower this length back down to a 4-item list. So we have 4 items on our list now, right? We have Tackle, Bubble, Tailwhip, and Tatsumaki Senpuken. And we have this move list length. I actually don't need this anymore. Or this code, for that matter. There you go. So our random index within that list is going to be 0 through 3. So I want 0, and then the highest number is going to be the length of the list, which is 4, minus 1, because we want the highest index is 3. The length is 4, but the highest index is 3, because the index start at 0, right? Random choices for multiple random items. That's actually very useful, guys. I did not know that. If I had a nickel for every time I could have used that, that'd be very helpful. But we're still talking about indexes here, guys. So we have a random index, right, for our list. So we're going to print off our random index, and then whatever moves at that index. Let's see if this code works. Does it work? Let's find out. It does. Okay, so our random index is 0. So it rolled the dice and got 0. And that means that our random move is tackle at index 0, at the first item. Let's try it again. So now our random index is 3, which means we've got Tatsumaki Senpuken. That's, 0, 1, 2, 3, right here. So we used randint to get a random number between 0 and 3, or in this case, 0 and the length of the list, minus 1. And we get random moves now, right? So we can use this idea to go give our actual Squirtle some AI, kind of. Yeah, I definitely will use them. I'm going to check the docs for sure. That sounds awesome. All right, let's review one more time before I go over there, guys. A list is a sequence of data. In this case, it's strings, right? And they're separated by commas, and they're closed by square brackets. So we have our entire list right here, right? It's tackle, bubble, tailwhip, and Tatsumaki Senpuken. And you can access the data in the list using a number, which is that it's called an index, right? So we're using a random number to pick a random move. And as my friends here explained to me, I can actually use another function called choice, which will do that as well. But we're going to actually stick with this for now. Let's go back to our Pokemon code. Let's go Carbonwood. It's so simple, but it works, right? Now we're going to have a Squirtle with a random move. Right, so here we go, guys. Pokemon 2's turn. So right now, we input text, right, to choose his move. Right? But now, why don't we instead make a list of moves and get a random move from that list? So let's go back up here to Squirtle. We're going to give him another stat. We're going to say Pokemon 2, move list is now going to be tackle, bubble, tailwhip, and Tatsumaki, right? Tatsumaki Senpuken. There you go. Nice to meet you, Wes. Have a good night, dude. I'll see you around. Guaranteed. I guarantee it. Let's actually do the same thing for just to be have it all things being equal. Let's give a move list to Cyndaquil as well. Maybe make him be randomized too, right? Have a random Pokemon battle. That'd be kind of fun. See who wins. He's going to have Tackle. He's going to have Flamethrower. He's going to have Tailwhip. And he's going to have Growl. Right, so now they both have, their own move lists. But now we're going to actually randomize Pokemon 2's moves. So instead of saying inputted text equals, an input from the user, we're going to get our random integer. We're going to say, let's just say Pokemon 2's random integer, right? It's going to be random dot, we're going to have a bug here, guys. Random dot randint. It's going to start off at 0. It's going to go to the length of the list, right? So length, well, let's just keep it simple. We'll say it's 3, right? Between 0 and 3. We know it's going to have 4 moves. I misspelled randint. What's up, Perp Durkin? How you doing, dude? The start of Salty Bet, exactly. Random Pokemon battles. Typo in the move list. Oh, holy shit. Holy shit. Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl. Tackle. Pokemon 2. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Oh, he's so sharp. So sharp. There we go. We haven't imported it exactly, Kenny. We're gonna crash here. Let's demonstrate that, though. Okay, so we have this Pokemon, this kind of random integer, right? We're going to use it to pick a move. So we're going to say now the inputted text is not going to be from the user, right? Inputted text is going to be, Pokemon 2 move list. Is that spelled with an underscore? Move list. Yes. Move list at our Pokemon 2 random int, right? We'll call it random index to be totally clear, right? So now we have this move list, and every time the Pokemon 2 gets a turn, we get a new random number, and we use that number to pick one of his moves at random. Yo, let's go, Mr. Anderson. Not never in his own, though, huh? Thanks for having my back, dude. We're going to have a crash here, guys, and Kenny's already figured out why, right? It's because we're using random.randint, right? That is randint from the random library, right? Because the period is like an apostrophe S, it means ownership. So, you know, random's randint. But we haven't imported random yet. So we don't know what random is yet, right? But let's just run this code and get a crash. So you guys know what's good. Okay. So Civical's going to use tackle, and then boom, crash. Right? Name a random is not defined yet. We don't know what random is. But that means we have to go to the very top of our code. And we import random. That means we have imported all the tools that random library has to offer. And again, random has a lot of cool tools, including some I wasn't even aware of. Right? Today we learned about one I wasn't aware of. Let's go back to random here. Where's that at? Random. It's got this cool thing called choice I learned about today. Right? So we're using choice right here. Returns a random element from a non-empty sequence. So that's kind of cool, right? That's really, really cool. But we're using randint right here. And as you can read here on the docs.python.org, you can read about how it works. Returns a random integer n such that a, which is the first argument, is less than or equal to n, is less than or equal to b, which is the second argument. So kind of cool. Kind of really cool. Whoops, really again. No, Mega Man Legends 2 tonight, no. Tonight's going to be Worms Armageddon, and then some Mario Odyssey. We're going to start Worms very soon here, guys, like very, very soon. We're actually a little bit late already. Welcome back, Dixie. You get an okay nap? It wasn't a very long nap. When's it going to evolve? We can evolve him right now if you want. What's his evolution called? I think it's called Cinda Dix? Something like that. I think that's what it's called, canonically, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't read the art book in a long time. Okay, so now we can run this code. We've imported random. Let's see if this works. So Syndadix's moves are Tackle, Flamethrower, Tailwhip, and Growl, and Squirtle's moves are these. I feel like I was wasting time, so I gave up and went out for coffee. And Dick, sleep is so good, Dick. Sleep is so good. So Syndadix is going to use Growl. I'm scared of this guy now. He's random. I can't control him anymore, right? And plus, he's a water type, and I'm a fire type. He can do extra damage to me now. So it's like I'm going to growl at this guy and try and lower his attack power. I'm scared of him. Okay, so I growled at Squirtle, and he has 7 PP right now. He whipped his tail at Syndadix. Nice. So he lowered my defense, right? Let's growl at him again. I'm scared as shit. Oh, you did a Tatsumaki on me now. Oh, but see, I took a damage that was a float. Because like I said, it's changed things around to floats. That's fine. It doesn't really matter for our purposes. But yeah, he did 5.0 damage. I now have a 50.0 HP. Shit. Okay. Why does that do float damage? Let me go see if, for my own pleasure. I don't understand how that's possible. Let's see here. Oh, because of this. I'm multiplying by 1.5. Oh, well, that's bad. Because that means that we can actually do... let's not do that then. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's just give it... Tatsu does a lot of damage. It always does 2 times damage. Let's not talk about floats yet. That's too complicated for us. Okay. So I'm going to go back to using Growl. He's going to use Bubble on me. Okay. So that sucks. He did a bunch of damage. It's super effective, right? I'm going to Growl again. Okay. Oh, no, he did Bubbles again. No. Growl. Oh, he did Bubbles again. No. And Tatsumaki's so strong. Oh, I'm not going to win this one, guys. Oh, no, look. He's already so weak. He only did 2 damage. Oh, okay. So I growled a bunch of times. I'm fine. What are the chances he would roll 3 bubbles, then a Tatsumaki? That's a lot of damage. But again, I growled him so many times he doesn't do any damage anymore. So I should be able to win this. Let's go ahead and just use Tackle a bunch of times. Yeah, you can't even do damage with Tackle anymore. Okay. Tackle. Okay. So let's see. Squirrel's at 60 health still. He's got a lot of fucking health, man. What a scrub. He's got twice as much health as me. Holy shit. He's still got a shot, to be honest. I'm going to tackle him. I got, what, 7 tackles left? Let's keep on tackling him. Oh, but he still has a bug where if he hits a move he has no PP for, he just goes back to my turn. Yes, is that how Pokemon works? Maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So we're going to end the stream anyway. We have a pretty cool code here, guys. We have a pretty cool little program, I feel like. Keep on tackling until I run out of PP. I got 1 tackle left. Okay, let's use Flamethrower. Finish the job. Finish the job! If I can type correctly. Okay. What happened? Oh, I'm fine. I'm sorry. I got confused there. See you Monday then. No. We're going to be playing some worms, guys. We're going to play some worms. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to kill this guy right now. I have no more flamethrower left. Okay, so I want to use... Wait, what? I can't kill him. No! I think it's going to be a stalemate, guys. I'm out of PP. I forgot to reduce his defense. So he still has 8 health left, and I have no more attacks left. So I can only use Tailwhip and Growl. That doesn't do any damage. And he can't damage me either. He's out of moves that'll damage me. Cyndaquil with Flamethrower, but it hasn't evolved. Lives up to Infinity. Add it again, I see. It's Python. We're going to end the stream right here, though, guys. But yeah, guys, today we made a pretty cool program, I feel like, right? We've got a program now where we get to choose Cyndaquil's move against Squirtle, and Squirtle chooses a random move against us. So we actually have like kind of like a real Pokemon battle here, kind of. I mean, it's not really like a real Pokemon battle, but for our first, couple days programming, I think we accomplished a lot here, guys. That's pretty dope. It's a little bit complicated, as you can see here. It's quite a few lines of code, but a lot of it's very repetitive. And in the future, guys, our next programming stream, we're going to actually talk about classes and methods and attributes. It's going to make this code a lot cleaner. It'll make this code look brand new, trust me. This is kind of convoluted, but you're going to have your minds blown next week, guys. We have classes involved, and like I said, methods and attributes. It'll make this a lot nicer. Guys, as usual, if you enjoy hanging out, I'll keep the channel online. Check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Vencabot. Even a buck is a huge help, guys. I stream for 40 hours a week every week. And the only reason I can do that is because you guys are helping me here on Twitch with the Twitch subs and on Patreon with the Patreon subs. If you're like me, you're not exactly rolling in dough, right? You're kind of like working minimum wage, or you're a student, or working full-time. You have a house to pay off and a family to feed. Help for free in that case. In fact, the best way to help the channel is to get in the chat and come say hi. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here in the chat, talking about Python. Made it a lot more fun for me here. Thanks for the follow, Roddy's stream. Excuse me, Raj's stream. You can also follow for free. It's a good way to help the channel out. And save clips of funny stuff, scary stuff, salty stuff. Not really for programming, but for gameplay. The clips are really cool, guys. I always go on the break screen when I'm getting my food and stuff between games. It helps me keep it a bit more lively while I'm gone. Also good for sharing on Facebook and Twitter and our Discord channel at Vencabot.com, guys. Speaking of Discord, on that server at Vencabot.com, we have a little channel called Intro to Python. If you have any questions, ask me there anytime. We talk about Python and beginner stuff and can help you with your homework or whatever. It's kind of cool. That's at the Discord server for Vencabot. Also, we're on YouTube, guys, at youtube.com/Vencabot Archive. That's at youtube.com/Vencabot Archive. I have all of my past streams archived there in 1080p 60 frames, including Python. Go watch my old lessons over there if you like. Also, we have gameplay there organized by game as well as by genre. It looks great. I put a lot of work into it. I'm very proud of it. I got, 1,000 videos now live on YouTube. Go check it out. I'm very proud. Flail's an attack. We should program that next time, right? We should do flail. Do you start flailing? Not in this version yet. Not in our game. There's no flail yet, so we can't win this fight. It's a stalemate. One day you will get there. Once you hooked up your PuTTY Telnet client to a remote PHP RPC client on a host that connects a REST endpoint to the Twitter API, so you can use the CLI to navigate the dark web, you're on the right track. Using Twitter to navigate the dark web, huh? It does damage based on how much HP you have lost, yeah. Yeah, Discord, yeah. We have an Intro to Python on there, a little Intro to Python channel now. We talk about Python all the time. I'm going to a very short break, guys. Come right back with Worms Armageddon in a few minutes. I'll see you guys around. See you guys next Friday, I hope. With classes, making moves will be a ton easier. Yes, exactly. We can make more Pokemon types. We can make more moves. It'll be a lot quicker. We can't do all the work for you, BitLaw. No, we can't do all the work, but we can help you answer your questions. Good stuff, Rat. Pleasure having you, man. Then I can just sit at home and eat ice cream. Yeah, we can't do your homework for you, but if you have any Python questions, we're definitely willing to help. And we're a 40-hour-a-week game stream, guys. We play a lot of Street Fighter here, Third Strike. We play a lot of retro games, some modern games. We only program on Fridays. If you guys are new followers here, don't be disappointed next week when you see a lot of Third Strike, Street Fighter 3, well. Some Mega Man Legends. Just wait until Friday. It'll be more programming, I promise. Oh, not homework, just work. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that for you if you want, dude. Yeah. If you want. You can split the paycheck evenly among us. Yeah, got it. That's the first time ever getting that. Just come on by, give us your login information for your work, and we can help you out with that. Probably not a good idea, though. Nice. Sure. What's up, Nacho? Hey, Nacho. Yeah, I'm sure they'd love that, yeah. Someone's the pure function version of the Pokemon game, Pure Functions. Well, I mean, we kind of We kind of tried something like that today, but functional programming has the limitations, right? It has limitations. I was kind of surprised, to be honest. Like, I kind of wanted to do more today with functions, but I haven't done that in so long. I was surprised by the roadblocks I ran into. So I kind of didn't do as much with functions as I hoped to do today. Yeah, BitLaw is correct about that, yeah. You got to find a good balance. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'll make some, we'll do functional programming, right? It'll be nothing but returns and arguments. It'll be great. But really, the way we kind of did this code, it didn't really work out that way. Get 3, here we go. Look that way. Look that way. Okay, you guys ready? We should play that on stream sometime. What's wrong with you? Oh, fuck! Did you not see the fucking crosswalk ass swipe? Oh, shit. Bruh. I had the right of way. I'm a pedestrian.